Welcome to Nick and Dave Deep Dive the Metaverse, a podcast exploring cult classics, subculture, and geek media. I'm Nick.
And I'm Dave.
And we will be your tour guides today for our hot take of Malcolm Spellman and Kari Skogland's spy-fi Marvel miniseries, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Is it really called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yes, it is, with both thes.
No way.
No, it totally is.
Man, that's stupid.
It doesn't roll off the tongue, but they couldn't just call it Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
No, they should have called it Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's grammatically correct.
It is. It is what it is.
Sure.
We're not Malcolm Spellman.
No, we're not. But I was a little skeptic of this. I was not sure I was going to like it, just because... I really liked the Winter Soldier, Captain America movie. I thought that was cool. I thought Falcon was kind of an also-ran in the Avengers movies, just like in the Snyder cut of Justice League. I hate it when they try to give origin stories in a team movie.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think Falcon's probably only got 11 minutes of screen time generously in the whole Marvel movies up until this point.
Yeah, and it's weird that they slept on this guy because he seems to be like one of the best actors in the whole Avengers cast.
Oh yeah, I think he's been kind of stepping out. I know he was in the second season of Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
And
he was killer in that role.
And he's had some other streaming action movies, which I don't mean that to be to diminish those movies.
Well, not everything's A tier, right?
Well, and streaming is where we watch movies now.
Yeah,
so
streaming is the standard now. Theater is the anomaly. But yeah, he's been in some kind of B tier movies.
Yeah, so I think this is really. He's been working towards this moment where I already said it once, but he becomes Captain America by the end of this series.
Yeah, you totally spoiled it, but
that's what we do. This is a spoiler-filled podcast.
Yeah, well, in the last movie with Captain America, he literally hands him the shield and said, "It's yours now."
Yeah.
So that spoiled this whole series anyway. Mm-hmm. This is literally another Captain America origin story.
Yeah, for a different Captain America.
Yeah. It's a mantle, as I've learned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is.
You can pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the Winter Soldier is played by Sebastian Stan.
That is correct.
I'm a bit of a Stan because this dude is fucking badass.
Oh, yeah. There's a few people I think are, they should at least maybe there's some nominations for Best Supporting Actor in this movie, in this series. I think
it's kind of a movie, but yeah,
yeah. It's a technically it would be eligible for an Emmy, not an Oscar.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know that I don't watch every single show, but I'd like to see Sebastian Stan and Carl Lumley and a few people.
Dude, Carl Lumley, he made me feel real emotions.
Yeah.
His acting's so good. Okay, so we're kind of getting into this already. If you couldn't tell, divers, we were excited to do this episode. We had originally planned on doing something else, and we may have even talked about it. We were talking about doing Pacific Rim.
Yeah, I've been kind of doing the hype up on Twitter, but I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, so all of our socials followers, both of you know that we were planning on doing Pacific Rim, but Nick called an audible on this because I posted just independently that I finished the series and I thought it was completely badass.
Yeah, so I thought we'd harness that enthusiasm. That's what we're about here, is enthusiasm, and dive into this. But that's probably enough run up.
Sure.
What have you been up to?
I can't even remember if I talked about it before the last episode or not, but I went camping at the beach.
I think you were going to go camping when last we met.
Yeah, and so I did that, and it was pretty cool down there by Manzanita on the Oregon coast.
Oh, nice.
And I enjoyed it, chilling. It was pretty crowded because it was part of spring break, so lots of people had gone with their families and stuff, but that didn't really kill it for me. The weather wasn't amazing, but whatever. Generally speaking, though, since spring has sprung, as they say, I've been just spending tons of time outside. I've been doing anything I can to just go outside. And I even got in a little bit of armored combat, suited up, did some fighting. That's about it. I haven't done anything what I would consider special. I've just been doing stuff that I've enjoyed.
Did you need the breastplate spreader to get into it after the time off?
No, I'm actually a little under what my starting COVID weight was.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
But not significantly. I dipped a little. Tried that app Noom, and it works. It actually works, but it's expensive. And then I got lazy again, and so I gained a bit of it back. But anyway, nobody wants to hear about that.
It makes you relatable. Everyone's going through that COVID-15 or whatever.
Yeah, it's cool. Nobody's immune to it. So what about you? What have you been up to?
As far as geeky stuff, I went to a couple cool places.
I saw those pictures on your Instagram, and I was like, I'm gonna ask him about that on the podcast.
Yeah, so I went to they're both in Everett, Washington.
That's where I was born.
Oh, wow! I would have visited your birthplace.
My birthplace. Here I'm at the hospital.
We could do a live episode.
This is Dave's episode 0.
Yeah. But anyways, so I went to a toy store, or a toy store doesn't do it justice, but I went to a store called Bobacon, which is like a collectible store, near museum kind of collectible store. It's very much like, I say this because you've been to Mandarake in Japan. It's like that. It's a next level collectible toy store.
Kind of like that place in Portland. What was it called? Billy Galaxy?
It's way bigger than Billy Galaxy.
Okay.
It's not multi-stored, like more multi-leveled like Mandarake is.
Yeah.
But it's like if Billy Galaxy was, a quarter of a strip mall.
Okay. I mean, yeah, when you compare it to Mandarake, I know exactly what you're talking about. But divers, if you don't know what that is, there's a place in Tokyo that's a super nerd store that's really big. It's like Powell's Books or something.
Yeah, like 7 stories tall, multiple locations, and with a off-site shipping warehouse. Mandarake is next level.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, just so much cool stuff in there, and like they had just bought a whole Star Wars collection from someone who had been collecting since the 70s. And so the store was just like buried in Star Wars memorabilia.
Wow.
Like,
I wonder what that kind of a buy costs them.
Oh, Jesus. I have no idea. And definitely in the hundreds of thousands.
Someone needed to retire, so they sold their nerd stuff.
Yeah. They had like 3 life-size Yodas
Wow.
from different eras, like young Yoda with the lightsaber, and like it was pretty cool. So I went there, and then I went to, because I was in Everett, Funko headquarters, which I don't even collect Funko Pops. Like that's not my jam. But I highly recommend if you're up north in Washington, going and checking out the Funko headquarters.
I didn't know that was based in Washington.
Yep, they're an Everett, Washington company. They sponsor the local minor league baseball team. It's a Mariners farm team. I forget what they were called, but it's Funko Field that they play on.
That's cool.
Because we drove past that. They have a very visible presence in that town. They're clearly like the big industry.
Huh. I don't collect Funko Pop figures either. I've occasionally considered buying them, but I look because they do like interesting niche characters that I really like.
They license everything.
Yeah, like there are Critical Role Funko Pops, and I love Critical Role. So I thought about buying them, but it's one of those deals that I feel like they're like Pringles, You don't just have one.
I have one now.
Oh shit, you're in.
It is. I think you're there's something to that, because I went in there, last episode was Godzilla versus Kong. I went in there to get a Godzilla pop.
Not Kong?
I don't like the Kong pop. I don't like his face.
Yeah, but I'm on Team Kong, dude.
Me too, but well, here's the thing. Funko Pops have those weird marshmallow faces with the beady eyes. So for all the reasons why you connect with Kong is the reasons why his pop is too poppy. Because he has an almost human face.
Does he have an axe in his hand, though?
He does have an axe in his hand.
Fool, you bought the wrong pop.
No, I could have... Lisa would have happily signed off on buying both. She was pro Kong, and I was like, I just want the Godzilla.
Damn.
But anyways, I do have one pop, but then once you have one... Then it's like...
There's nothing stopping you.
Well, I like this Chewbacca. That's pretty cool. And I like this Krampus or whatever this thing is.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just like all these characters. There was some pink werewolf. I don't know what he came from, but I liked him. I thought about buying that. I don't watch Dragon Ball Z, but I really wanted that Shenron dragon. I think he's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that those things are really neat, but I dare not dip my toe in.
Yeah. So I stuck to it. I only bought one, and we kind of tentatively were like, if we want more, we'll go back on at the end of the weekend. And then we opted not to detour back to it.
Oh, go north. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. That would have been a bit of a drive.
But yeah, I did that. So if you're in Everett, Washington, those are on the list. I think check those places out. But
yeah, nobody vacations to Everett because there's pretty much nothing else there.
I know. If I go past Seattle, it's all the way to Canada. Like I never stop at any of those intermittent, Mount Lake Terrace and Edmonds and those cities. They just like breeze on by.
Yeah, that's where my brothers live, up north of Seattle. So I know all about that stuff.
Oh, well, you have a good reason to stop at those stores.
No, I'm probably not going to stop. All right, so that brings us to podcast fuel. What are we drinking today?
For only the second time, we get a beer from my favorite local brewery, Crux. I jumped the gun. My other beer is a culmination. Crux is my favorite Bend brewery. Let's spin it like that.
Oh, yeah, because, I was going to say, Crux isn't Portland-based.
Yeah, no, I like Crux quite a bit. I got there.
Is it your favorite Bend brewery?
Crux? Yeah.
More than Boneyard?
Oh, yeah.
Man. You can be wrong. That's okay.
My favorite Boneyard beer was a collab with Three Floyds. And
okay.
So it was a one-off. And I don't hold it against them. That's the nature of collaborations. But
I never fall in love with collabs because I know it's fleeting.
Yeah. If you bring back that Iron Fist, and I'll be right back there at Boneyard waiting for it.
All right.
But anyways, this is Cruising Altitude, an Imperial IPA from, like I said, Crux. It's 8% ABV, 50 IBUs, and it has complex strata hops, giving it that juicy tropical flavor and citrusy aroma, and Pilsner and caramel malt. And then just a dusting of Galaxy hops. This
does not taste. It does not taste like a 50 IBU beer. This tastes very, very drinkable.
It's pretty crushable. In fact, I've very nearly killed my can while we were sitting here talking.
Yeah, and I'm halfway through mine. That's a lot faster than normal. But
that's a dangerous Imperial IPA.
Yeah, you don't want an 8%er that does it like that.
Well, that covers it. That's our opening segment. So do you want to take a break and then we'll get into this?
Sounds good to me.
All right, welcome back, divers. Let's get into this. We're starting out with Episode 1, New World Order, in which Sam spends half the series effects budget on one action sequence. Bucky gets creative with his therapist's instructions. The Flag Smashers are juiced up anonymous. Not even being an Avenger can get a black family a business loan. And John Walker winks at the camera like a prick.
Yeah, this episode, when I watched it, and it started off with that super cool Falcon scene over the desert canyons with George St. Pierre and the paragliding and all that. holy crap, that was cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, you're like, oh, this is what they're doing. This is a cinematic level effects, serious action, and we're dropping right into it. Yeah, they put it all on the table right at the start.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed how Falcon was just kicking ass from the very start, and the little drones and stuff were
Red
cool.
Wing.
Red Wing, yeah, whatever. It was cool, and I just generally enjoyed that whole part. The part of the show that was kind of a bummer was like, oh, he gives the shield over to be displayed in the Smithsonian or whatever, and then they totally turn on him, whoever that senator
beardy dickhead.
Fuck that guy.
And the senator, I'm gonna look that guy up here real quick, but I got it in my notes because there was a thing that he said right off the bat that really like rubbed me wrong. And he says something along the lines of, thanks again for coming forward with this shield, Sam. You made the right choice. And it was like, coming forward, it's like when that's the way you'd phrase something like when you found a briefcase full of money and you brought it to the authorities or whatever.
Yeah.
It implies Captain America didn't give him that shield. It was like he found it. And it just put me against that guy right from the start.
Yeah, I was a little bit questioning of Sam's motives, giving up the shield, but then later on in the show, it kind of gets deeper into that with him and Bucky, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I think they do a good job overall of explaining that as the show goes on.
I kind of hate this terrorist organization, the Flag Smashers.
Oh yes,
I just think they're super lame.
So first of all, we get introduced to a terrorist organization that we never hear from again, called the LAF, right? That's who he's rescuing this hostage from at the beginning, and then you never hear the word LAF again. It's all Flag Smashers for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Are you aware of kind of the talk on the internet about what has been removed from the series?
No, I haven't really.
Okay.
I don't read much of this nerd stuff.
So essentially the rumor is, and this is not exactly confirmed, is that a huge part of the story revolved around a virus being introduced to the displaced people camps in order to kill them off. And then that is, later we see kind of a figure in those camps dying, and they just kind of make an offhanded remark about it being tuberculosis.
Yeah.
But originally it was supposed to be like an engineered pandemic. And then...
Yeah, like the one we have now.
Yeah, like a pandemic, right? It basically was hitting too close to home, and they surgically removed all of that from the series. Okay. That's probably why it's only 6 episodes instead of 8, because WandaVision was 8 episodes long.
Still haven't watched that.
Yeah, WandaVision is good. It's really good.
I just can't stand the 50s campy nonsense. I hate it.
That's only 1 episode.
Man, so can I skip that episode?
I mean, probably. You could probably skip to 3 if you really wanted to. If you want to just jump in at 3. I guess. I mean, that's not what I would do, obviously.
All right. Anyway,
yeah, let's not tangent onto that. But I think that's why the Flag Smasher story never gels. Mm-hmm. But regardless, this is what they put out, and it's what we have to judge it on, and it never gels.
Yeah, I hate this whole Flag Smasher group. They're like one world, one people is their thing. They're basically like blip communists.
Yeah. So in the time after the blip, which we assume you all know, Thanos snapped his fingers and half of the universe disappeared.
And they were gone for 5 years, and then they came back, and everyone now refers to that 5 years as the blip.
Yes. And so during that time, essentially all your wealthy countries welcomed people from all over the world because they were down half of their population and were eager for, cheap labor and all of that. Then when all those people returned 5 years later, they want these people to get the F out and head back to their countries of origin. And they don't, understandably, they don't want to go. Mm-hmm. It's a trope. This is a trope I really hate, where you have the sort of righteous villains. I like righteous villains. I don't like righteous villains where the villains are so righteous that you have to make them do crazy shit in order to justify them being villains. Yeah,
in this case, they're essentially zealots. Mm-hmm. Their actions don't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I think if there's one flaw to this show, it's the villains.
100%.
Because the heroes are really good.
Yeah. So besides that, in that first episode, it's kind of Sam and Bucky are separate in this first episode. Mm-hmm. And so Bucky's story has to do with his therapy, which was he had to go into court mandated therapy as a condition of his pardon for being the Winter Soldier. And he's doing some fun stuff with it where he's going out and kind of busting bad guys that he empowered. But then he's also making, in my mind, morally very questionable choices, such as befriending an old man of the father of a person that he killed.
And not saying anything about it. It's really that seemed to me to be the ultimate in manipulative. It's like he's making himself feel better, but the old man is completely ignorant of the fact that he murdered his son.
Yeah. And that one sat bad with me. Like it gets resolved a bit at the end, but I don't know that I ever quite get on board with that whole move.
Yeah, I mean, I think the character of Bucky is extremely complicated in this show. And that's one thing that, like, if you had told me, like, I don't know, several years ago, if you'd said, like, hey, Dave, you're really going to like Bucky, and he's super complex. Yeah. I would be like, what are you smoking, dude? Yeah,
your favorite superheroes are now Superman and Bucky.
And Bucky, yeah. I'd be like, dude, Bucky's dead, and he stays dead. Mm-hmm. And I hate Captain America, Superman, because he's just a Boy Scout. But now, literally, it's Kal-El and Bucky Barnes.
Those are your guys. Yeah. Why aren't they a team?
Yeah, that'd be the best.
Yeah, and beyond that, we get some stuff with Sam back home. He goes. This is a big change to Sam's backstory from the comics, having him based in Louisiana. But that is where Anthony Mackie is from, and I think that just ties him and the character together. I like that, actually.
Okay. Yeah, his family is believable and good. The acting is good.
Yeah, I love that sister Sarah and her little sons. Yeah. And I like. I mean, right off the bat, that scene in the bank where they go to get a loan. Oof.
It's almost unbelievable that the Avengers had no paychecks.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is. It does make us call into question
Tony
Stark's business management.
And what about the United States government? Because clearly Falcon is an agent who works for them.
Well, he says that. He says, I've got government contracts, and that proves income. And they're like, well, yeah, well, what about this 5 years when you didn't exist?
Yeah.
What about your income during that time? And we do need to remember that he was part of the Captain America's rogue Avengers that broke off after Civil War. So he was a fugitive for 2 years.
So how about, while we're tangenting, West Coast Avengers in the future?
It seems like we're getting there. We got a few members of it set up right now.
I know. Fuck yeah.
It's
cool.
Yeah, it's the 80s comics of our childhood are getting a lot of love in these series.
You know, it was funny, and not to spoil anything here, because we know John Walker, who gets made Captain America at the end of this show, at the end of episode 1. He later loses the mantle of Captain America and becomes U.S. agent, which that's a comic book thing. Like, it happened. He killed a guy. He became U.S. agent.
Yeah.
U.S. Agent was always my dude. Like, I had his Marvel card. I had that Series 3 Marvel set.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, he's got the shield, and his is kind of like, it looks like a cop's badge or something. It's not round. And he has a gun in his other hand. I'm like, he's like Captain America, but realistic. He will shoot a bitch.
I too am a fan of John Walker and U.S. Agent.
You know, this show doesn't diminish that at all. In fact, it makes me like John Walker more.
I think it's really interesting watching the internet kind of bug out, like people that aren't comic book readers and aren't kids of the 80s.
Did you know that U.S. Agent is like bad Captain America?
Yeah. He's like a Reaganite Captain America.
Yeah.
He's the Captain America of our 80s action movies that we grew up on, basically.
Yes. He's awesome.
Yeah, so I like John Walker, but I thought it was really hilarious watching people like, fuck this new Captain America.
We hate him because they didn't know he was going to lose it in these 6 episodes.
Yeah. Like,
but we all knew.
There's so many things. I was like, that comic's 30 years old. How do you... Well, I mean, you don't read comic books, and I'm a stunted man-child, so I know all about this stuff.
If they had Googled John Walker Captain America, they would have been like, "Oh,
yeah. But that's not how Twitter works. You just go on Twitter and you just put your hot takes out there."
Yeah, that's true.
But anyways, yes. So Sam hands over the shield, like you said, to the Smithsonian and to add it to the Captain America Museum, and Senator Beardy, who I didn't finish looking up, promptly takes it out of the glass display case and hands it over to John Walker, and
who's like a special forces army captain. Mm-hmm. He's a legitimate bona fide badass, kind of peak of human performance.
What do they say? 5 medals of honor? Well, I mean,
that's not real. I mean, obviously that happened in the show, but nobody has more than 1 Medal of Honor in the real world.
Yes. Well, this is John Walker.
Okay.
He's episode 2, the Star Spangled Man. He's Captain America now. So, synopsis, in which the new Captain America goes on Good Morning America. Sam and Bucky go off half-cocked after the Flag Smashers. The new Cap and Battlestar can't get on the right foot with Sam and Bucky. Isaiah Bradley drops some harsh truth, and Sam and Bucky do couples therapy.
Yeah. Oh man, this is such a good episode. Like, I mean, it was kind of cool when they went on when he went on Good Morning America, because it actually made you like him.
Yeah, and that drum corps version of the Star Spangled Man song from the first Captain America movie, that shit slaps, man.
Yeah, that was really
good.
I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, wow, they really like razzle dazzled this up.
Mm-hmm. And it's believable. Like, if they're debuting a new Captain America, of course you have him go on all the talk shows, and
oh yeah,
you know, that's Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell, and Goldie Hawn's son. He's made for the camera. He looks ugly in the Captain America suit, kind of on purpose, but he's a good looking dude.
Yeah. When he takes the helmet off, he's actually like really handsome. Yeah. So that was a really cool moment, and I thought that they did a good job at humanizing him. Yeah,
we meet his wife, although we don't ever get her name, and we meet his partner Lamar, aka Battlestar.
Yeah, Battlestar Lamar Hoskins. He is badass.
Yeah, and you know, they talk about how John Walker is this sort of peak on all levels.
Yeah,
but Lamar is the brains of that operation.
Yeah,
he's like you're consistently known to make the right decisions in the heat of battle. Parentheses, because I tell you what to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be real. I'm a Army veteran. Mm-hmm. John Walker is a captain, which is an O3. Mm-hmm. Lamar Hoskins is a sergeant major, which is an E9. Mm-hmm. Every O3 listens to an E9.
Yeah.
Period. Because that's the highest enlisted rank. It means he works for a living. It means that he is the commander of troops. Like, you'll have a sergeant major who's in charge of an entire, brigade or division. Depending.
Yeah. It's very clear. These two guys trust each other just implicitly about everything. They have a really good. Their relationship is really well established right off the bat.
Yeah, they're like brothers. They're they are battle brothers.
Totally.
And I think that's pretty cool. And there's some drama in here with Bucky, who's talking to Sam and being like, "You shouldn't have given him the shield."
Yeah, Bucky feels all types of raw about it.
Yeah.
We see Bucky sitting on the floor watching Good Morning America, and he's pissed.
I think that the unspoken is that Bucky didn't say was, if you were going to give it away, you should have given it to me.
Yeah, no, I do think that that's true. And
because he was Captain America's sidekick, and he's a super soldier.
Yeah, and in the comics, Bucky was Captain America for a period of time that predates the time of Sam being Captain America.
Yeah, and you see, like, later in the series, like, Bucky slings that shield like a pro.
Yeah, he definitely is. Well, you saw in Civil War, like, him and Cap, like, toss it back and forth between each other constantly. Yeah, they've got a lot of time. He's got a lot of time on the shield.
So, yeah, I kind of agree with Bucky. It's like, if you gave it to a museum and they gave it to a Peckerwood, you should have given it to Bucky.
Yeah, no, I agree with Bucky there. But, Sam has his reasons, and he doesn't quite come forward about it there. Sam is basically, like, tells Bucky to piss off because he's going out on another mission. And he introduces this idea of the big three: androids, aliens, and wizards.
I love that.
He's like, those are the three things that we fight. And that's pretty true. I mean, sometimes you get a twofer, like Loki's an alien and a wizard.
Yeah.
So it's like, those are the sort of, like, global threats that they go up against. I love it
when they're like, Doctor Strange, he's a sorcerer. He goes, a sorcerer is just a wizard without a hat.
I don't think he's wrong about that. And we find out, that's where we find out Bucky's a geek, because he read The Hobbit in 1937.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He's like, I read it when it came out in 1937. I thought that was pretty cool, yeah. Mm-hmm. Bucky is the best.
Yeah, and so Bucky tags along on this mission, and he's just all hot-headed through the whole thing. He does some questionable stuff. Number one on my list is tearing the sleeve off his leather jacket. Why?
Mobility, maybe?
I guess. And he does it with his human arm, because he tears it off of the robot arm. I don't even think his human arm could pull a sleeve off of. That's hard, even for a super soldier.
No, he's a super soldier. Come on, man.
Their jackets are made.
He lifted that huge diesel engine off the back of the truck.
Robot
on
arm.
A panel, on a pallet. Yeah, I don't know, but he's a super soldier.
Whatever. If that's
so, who is stronger? Was Steve Rogers stronger than Bucky? The same.
I always thought so, but the way it's shown in this series, it seems like they're pretty much on a level. Plus, Bucky has a robot arm.
Yeah, he has. That's a vibranium arm, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a Wakandan thing that's super tech.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting on with this. Yeah, basically they go on this mission and they do a bunch of crap. They're fighting the Flag Smashers.
Yeah, and so we get introduced to the leader of the Flag Smashers, Carly Morgenthau. That's a gender bend from the comic book counterpart of Carl Morgenthau.
Okay, was he also like red hair?
He was Flag Smasher was his name.
That was his name. Okay.
Yeah, I think he had blonde hair, but he's just a generic white guy instead of like a biracial Cockney girl.
Yeah. Okay.
But when she takes her,
she had a really unique style too.
She took her mask off, and I was like, "That's Infant's Nest from Solo."
Oh, okay.
She's basically the exact same character in Solo, where she's like a counterinsurgent revolutionary.
I guess she really just sold herself on that kind of typecast.
Yeah, I think Disney, they tend to just go back to the same well, and so they're like, she worked. She was good in that.
I thought it was pretty fun, like, after the fighting and whatnot. I mean, the fight scene, not to just skip it, was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to see Falcon really kicking a lot of ass. Like, and it almost seems like he should have got beat up by some of those super soldiers, but they just aren't good fighters.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter who's not a super soldier. They're bad fighters that are.
Totally. That's totally accurate. And the wings are pretty intense. Like
he uses that jetpack to get a lot of extra oomph.
He's like a Jaeger in Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
The rocket fist.
He kind of reminds me of Batman in a way. He's the
gadget guy.
Yeah, he's a smart gadget guy. I was thinking about it. He's like, is this the new kind of Iron Man, Captain America hybrid? Like he's got all these like gadgets and he's got like teched up armor that's bulletproof and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just he's peak human performance plus special sci-fi tech.
Yeah. So I think Batman's a fair comparison, although he doesn't wear a sneaky outfit. Even his Falcon outfit's not sneaky.
No, it's just like red mostly.
Yeah. And so we're kind of brushing over this fight where the Flag Smashers were stealing a truckload of vaccines for a virus that we're not going to ever hear about.
Yeah, I was like, why vaccines? This doesn't make sense. This is out of context. And now that you tell me why, okay, I get it.
Yeah. So these first 2 episodes, I think, are close to the strongest. I think there's some strong episodes at the end of the series too.
I mean, episode 6 is the strongest episode. Like,
oh, you think?
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk about that when we get.
Okay. All I have to say is Isaiah Bradley. Like
so good, but he's got a lot in 5 too.
That's true.
But anyways, the Flag Smashers hijack these trucks. They're doing a Fast and the Furious, and they're stealing these vaccines. Bucky and Sam aren't being able to hack it.
Well,
and
they're getting beat up and outnumbered.
Yeah, and Captain America and Battlestar show up to even the odds.
Yeah, what do? They zipline down off a chopper or something?
Oh, they both like jump out of the helicopter implausibly.
Yeah.
Like John Walker, he throws a shield and dongs somebody with it, and then jumps out and lands hero pose on the top of this moving truck. And I was like, no.
Yeah, and neither of these guys are super soldiers. They're just military guys.
Yeah, they're just, like you said, Olympic level athletes, peak human performance, and even still, I don't think you can just jump onto a moving truck like that.
No, not moving that fast. No way.
But they get involved. No one does great in this. The bad guys get away. Sam and Bucky are walking back to the airport, and
why doesn't Sam just fly back?
Oh, because Bucky can't fly.
I mean, can't he lift Bucky?
Yeah, but it's humiliating to get carried. It's emasculating.
Okay. All right.
You can do it under. You can hold him by one arm, which hurts.
He has a robot arm. It wouldn't hurt.
But it's humiliating.
Okay, I'm just going to put this out there right now. If you ever get wings or an Iron Man suit or anything like that, you can fly me places.
Well, can I... you want to you can go on my shoulder?
I prefer you to carry me like a baby.
Okay. I think that's both the most comfortable way to do it and the most humiliating way.
I don't care. I would just jump out of your arms and be like, "Thank you, Jeeves," and walk forward.
Or I drop you off like a block away, like a parent. I don't want them to see you drop me off, Mom.
Don't drop me off at the black metal show like this.
Anyways, Cap and Battlestar pull up and are trying to give them a ride.
And they will not take it.
They don't want to get in the... Bucky's such a curmudgeon, and I love him. I just love that. And they cave, they get in, and they're just starting to get along. And Bucky's just staring daggers at John Walker and staring daggers at Lamar. And he asks Lamar what his name is, and when Lamar says Battlestar, Bucky's like, "That's it. Stop the car. Stop the car. I'm getting out." He's like, "Nope, I'm not riding with Battlestar."
Yeah, but fuck that, because Battlestar is just Bucky. He's just the same role.
Exactly, but he's looking at his reflection and he doesn't like looking at it. He's like, "Oh, look at you, it's sidekick." I was never his sidekick. I was his partner.
You were a sidekick.
Yeah, and And then John steps in it too, where he says to Sam, he's like, I need Cap's wingman beside me. And Sam's just like, oh, nope. It's always that last line. Mm-mm.
I mean, they would have been a pretty fucking good team if they had teamed up with John Walker and Battlestar.
Oh, yeah.
That four dudes. That would have been a good
There's a lot
team.
of toxic masculinity going on here, because obviously the 4 guys could have got more done together.
Well, I think, I mean, it's funny because Lamar is probably the smartest of them, but it seemed like Sam is the most empathetic, the most people person of them all. And it seems like John is machismo and Bucky is just pure, like, edgelord, curmudgeon.
Yeah. He's bitter. He's 106 years old.
He reminds me of, like, Logan in the Logan movie.
Totally. He's a 106-year-old man. He's seen some shit. And he's over all of it. He doesn't like the stupid superhero nicknames. He doesn't care about any of that stuff.
I like that he just goes by his real name. He just goes by Bucky.
I'm Bucky. Yeah.
There's not a lot of other people named Bucky.
So basically, they go off on their own, and Bucky has the idea. He knows where there's another super soldier. Basically, they're going to start pulling the thread on trying to figure out where the super soldier serum came from.
Yeah, this is actually kind of where they start down the mystery of where did these people get the serum to become super soldiers, because supposedly it was lost.
Yeah, and that's, as far as we saw from the first Captain America movie, Dr. Erskine died after they finished it. We saw some version of the serum in the Incredible Hulk movie, and that's what they juiced up the Abomination with.
Yeah.
So clearly that wasn't what these guys are taking.
And he's still around, right?
Yeah, he's locked in the raft somewhere, or some super science prison. He'll show up eventually. They'll dust off Tim Roth and bring him back out.
Would you take the super soldier serum?
The blue one or the green one, or the red one.
How about the John Walker one?
Yeah,
Blue
I think
one.
so. Yeah, why not?
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't see any downsides.
Yeah,
I don't want the one that makes me the Abomination, but I'll take the one that makes me Captain America. And even if I just run real fast and never do anything with it, so be it.
Oh, dude, you could just go and compete in those strongman competitions.
That's cheap. That's
true. That would be pretty lame. But yeah,
it's not like there's no way to monetize it. I suppose you should help people.
It doesn't make you bulletproof.
That's true. It doesn't make you bulletproof. But, okay, so like you said, the mystery of where the super soldier serum came from.
So they go to meet up with this old super soldier that Bucky knows about, that supposedly nobody else knows about.
Yeah, Isaiah Bradley. And so they go to Baltimore.
Yeah. Notoriously beautiful city.
Bodymore Murderland. And yeah, it's like they're doing the walking tour of sights from The Wire. And Sam gets called Black Falcon by this little kid.
Yeah.
And this is a kind of a repeating joke. This is probably the most charming version of it in the series.
Yeah.
Where this kid goes, "Hey, it's the Black Falcon." He's like, "Hey, man, it's just Falcon." And he goes, "My dad says it's the Black Falcon."
And he's like, "Is it because I'm black?" He goes, "Yeah."
And he's like, "Are you black, kid?" And he's like, "I got you there." Yeah, it was cute. And, for years and years, I mean, the Falcon has never been the Black Falcon, but most black superheroes had black in their name.
Yeah, pretty lame.
It's pretty lame. So, yeah, I like they kind of call that out. And they go to visit, like you said, Isaiah. His grandson doesn't want to let him in. Mm-hmm. If you're a comic geek, that kid goes on to be a superhero too, called Patriot.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of young Avengers or champions, like sort of like the Marvel Teen Titans characters, have been low key getting introduced in these TV shows.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll bring that forward down the road.
Oh, I'm sure. And you bring in like a 16-year-old kid and seed him here, and when he's a grown up, he's superhero age.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, Carl Lumley as Isaiah Bradley. He's one of the best things in the whole series.
Yeah, he's this old, very PTSD veteran who's a super soldier from way back. He knows Bucky.
Yeah, he says, we met in Korea in 1951. He says, if by met, you mean I whooped your ass. I tore off half that metal arm. I wanted to see if it grew back.
So where did Bucky get his first metal arm?
From Ruskiskis.
Oh.
He was a Russian agent.
Okay. Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's why he had the old arm had that big red star on it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. His new one's way more badass.
Yeah, the black with gold trim.
It looks really cool.
He's like, I see you grew it back. And it's
and
tough.
Bucky plays it really cool. Like he doesn't have any problem. He's definitely way less aggro, and he's had a lot more therapy than Isaiah.
But you can tell, like, he doesn't feel like, it's a huge point of the series. Bucky has a lot of guilt he carries from his time as the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he has memories of all this stuff. He just wasn't in the driver's seat. His controllers were pulling the strings. So he remembers fighting this guy and getting his ass whooped. But it wasn't his choice to do any of that stuff. But Sam understandably feels some type of way about this because there was a black super soldier that essentially the government threw away.
Yeah. They put him in prison, and it's implied that Hydra was involved.
Yeah, everyone was taking his blood and tissue samples and this ultimately is what the super soldier serum is derived from, is from his blood.
Yeah.
And understandably, he doesn't want anything to do with this superhero nonsense, and he doesn't want them in his house, and they leave.
Yeah, because, even though the super soldier serum did, and I feel stupid just for saying that.
Oh, yeah, that's...
It is derived from him, but he has no idea how, when, or who, because it was so long ago, and his blood and tissue has just been floating around for so long. He was in no way involved.
Yeah. So they leave, and they're kind of having it out on the street, having a little bro spat, and 5-0 rolls up on them. 2 cop cars. I just have in my notes a cab.
Yeah.
It's another rough scene because they go to Bucky and they're like, is this man bothering you?
Yeah, what actor would take that role?
Oh, of being
racist cop.
Being the racist cop?
Dude, that's like taking the role of being the STD person in a condom commercial or whatever. You're like, you just don't do that.
Yeah, that's
skip that one.
That's an episode of Friends when
okay.
Joey does he shoots these pictures and then they use them in like a Valtrex ad, and so it's up on these billboards his face
so
next
he can't
to it.
get dates. I bet. Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one, but it's a good plot. It's funny.
Yeah, I won't remember these cops when they show up as
cops in another movie,
right? I won't recognize them. But yeah, so according to some right-wing blog that I won't promote, 80% of viewers stopped watching.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and if it's true, fuck you.
Yeah, if you stopped watching because you saw a reflection of real life in a show, well, that means you're a piece of shit.
Disney don't need you. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but the mouse does just fine.
Oh, yeah. All the people who were claiming that
I'm going to cancel my Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah, Disney's too woke, and so they're going to leave. Goodbye.
No. Yeah, no, you won't. And your kids won't let you, first of all. Good luck. But anyways, from Bucky missed one of his court-appointed therapies, and so, as a big twist, Bucky's the one that gets picked up by the cops and not Sam.
Yeah, the thing is I really liked his therapist from the first episode, but I was like, really? She had the warrant put out on him? Man, what a bitch.
No, she's a hard lady. But it does give us the sort of delightful couples therapy scene with Sam and Bucky, which I really liked.
I read online that scene was very largely improvised.
Oh, I believe
the
it.
knee locking and all of that was the actors doing it. Like, evidently these two guys just have this chemistry, and the director let them do whatever they wanted whenever.
Well, I think that's where this show comes from. It's just out of the natural chemistry those two guys have.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we saw, you see not much of it in Winter Soldier where they're just fighting, but you definitely see a lot of it in Civil War.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that scene. That's really good.
It is really good. And I think that these two, Nick's reaching for the bag. I'm almost empty too.
Ready for number 2?
I think these two actors just have amazing chemistry, and on the screen, they're when they're interacting, when they're bantering, it's gold.
Definitely. So Walker is swinging his dick around as Captain America and just pulling strings everywhere.
And gets him released.
He gets him released. He says, yeah, Bucky's too important, and he's not going to be coming to these regular therapy sessions anymore.
It was great when the therapist goes, who authorized that? And he just kind of pointed at himself.
Yeah. Oh.
He was a force for good in that moment.
His smug ass is just so hateable. It's wonderfully hateable. Like, he's a great antagonist.
This guy would be the best heel in WWE history. Just because he's so charismatic. He's such a good actor.
Well, it's like if you go back to the Attitude Era of wrestling, you had these guys like Stone Cold and The Rock, who were intended to be heels.
Yeah.
That were just so popular that
they became heroes.
Yeah, they became faces. Yeah, and so it's like...
Yeah, basically, if you don't love The Rock, there's something wrong with you.
Oh, yeah. He's the most beloved person in the world, probably.
I bought a pair of shoes because they were The Rock's shoes.
What shoes does The Rock wear?
He has athletic shoes. I bought them for work.
Wait, athletic shoes?
They're Under Armour.
Under Armour, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're Under Armour. Project Rock. He has a whole line of shoes and clothes and like bags and everything.
Oh, I saw some of that at Dick's Sporting Goods.
The bull skull on it, or the
Brahma bull.
The Brahma bull. It's got that on it. The whole deal. So I bought a pair of those just because I love The Rock.
Okay.
And I needed work shoes.
I don't have anything against that.
Yeah. So popular heel becomes hero. Like John Walker could do that. Like he did. He became a hero to me.
Yeah, for sure.
On the last episode, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Because now they have a little head to head with Lamar and Walker again. And Bucky doesn't want to play nice with them. So Sam basically says, you guys... You have to get authorization, and we're independent agents. We're just going to do this our own way. And Walker's like, well, then, stay the hell out of my way.
Very sour grapes.
Yeah, he's not happy about it. He really wants to have all the Cap sidekicks. It gives him legitimacy.
Sure, yeah. If Falcon and Bucky roll with him, he's like, yeah.
I really am Captain America now.
I don't know why they didn't roll with him, because,
Because Bucky's a curmudgeon is why.
Yeah, but Sam was actually the one that rebuked him in that. We're opening our second. What do we got here, Nick?
Oh, shoot. This is Culmination, Good Intentions, and it is a Helles lager, I believe. Yeah.
Helles, yeah.
Classic German pale lager, Pacific Northwest cultivated and harvested barley from our friends at Skagit Valley Malting.
That would be Skagit Valley if you're from the Northwest.
Oh. Oh, sorry. my accent slipped in there.
Yeah, the joke is Nick's from the Northwest, but he's born in California, so we have to give him a hassle over that.
And like I said, Culmination is my favorite Portland brewery. I hinted at that earlier. So
I love a Helles lager.
This is only our second Culmination beer. I need to represent them better.
Yeah, we need to definitely represent some other places we haven't seen, like Grains of Wrath. I've been going there lately. Really good beer, super good beer. And
and they're putting a lot of cans out at the store.
Yeah, Camas, Washington, a really great brewery.
All this stuff, just because I make this effort to sort of theme it to the episode. they're all super metal. Like I always see this can. They had something like a Motorhead themed beer, and I was like, ooh, I should get that. And it's like, that doesn't tie into anything.
Yeah, all their beers are super metal.
Yeah, Grains of Wrath, definitely thumbs up. Anyways, that brings us to episode 3, Power Broker.
Which cool episode. Oh yeah, they tease what they're gonna do at the end of episode 2.
Oh,
where Wilson says, "We're gonna visit Zemo."
yeah, Bucky says.
Oh yeah. Does he? Yeah, Barnes tells. Yeah. Barnes tells Wilson that.
So episode 3, Power Broker, in which German prisons seem very insecure. New Cap is already cracking. Baron Zemo jets the gang to Madripoor to chew scenery. Sharon Carter has gone rogue. And the Flag Smashers take their terrorism up a level.
I like this episode quite a lot because I like Baron Zemo so much, and I like Agent Carter so much.
So, yes, for me, this is where the series starts to get off track a little bit.
Oh?
And it's not because of the A plot with Sam and Bucky and Zemo, which is, it's Lethal Weapon 3 and Zemo's Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
And that part is delightful. I love it.
Yeah, because the whole interplay between Bucky, Falcon, and Zemo is amazing.
Yes. I love all that stuff. I love the setting of Madripoor, although I was a little bummed that the only sort of Wolverine Easter egg we got was the Princess Bar.
Yeah.
I thought that they would lay a little more groundwork here, but they, maybe wisely didn't. But that's just just where I am.
Did you see the video that they put out on YouTube, an hour of Zemo dancing?
Of Zemo Eurotrash dancing?
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched it, but I
mean,
know
I obviously did not watch an hour of it.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
It's delightful. I love Zemo.
It's good, clean fun.
Mm-hmm. No, the part where it starts to kind of fall off the tracks for me is the Flag Smashers, because this is where they come in front and center, and it just doesn't land. It never lands. I believe this is the episode where Mama Danya dies, and she's sort of this figurehead for the Flag Smashers movement.
Was she supposed to have died from that engineered plague?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my understanding, which would make the hard turn the Flag Smashers take make it a lot more sense.
Yeah, because in this show, it's just like, oh, an old lady that you like died. Well, old ladies die.
Mm-hmm. And we never meet her. We only ever see her like under a burial shroud. And the Flag Smashers go hardcore killy from here on out. Mm-hmm. And it's not ever like earned. The story never gives us a reason for why they go so hardcore. And, and I feel like, maybe there's a version of these episodes where this stuff makes more sense. But it doesn't here. And so every time it cuts over to the Flag Smashers and they're monologuing about something, I'm just like, go back. I don't want to watch these kids.
Yeah, I actually actively my attention avoids the Flag Smashers. When it's a Flag Smasher scene, my phone creeps out of my pocket.
I honestly, rather than get this sort of half-assed version of their story, I'd rather they just be faceless terrorists and we don't spend so much time with them.
Yeah, I either wish they had put the plague in.
And just, you know what? It's a little close to reality, and it makes us uncomfortable, but that's fine.
So do all the racism scenes.
Yeah, totally.
Because there's a lot of them. And I think that reality is that's how you make people identify with things. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and that's honestly why I identify a lot with Isaiah and with Bucky, because I'm also a veteran.
Yeah.
I identify with John Walker and with Battlestar because they're veterans. They talk about veteran shit. Mm-hmm. And I think that having stuff that you identify with, it hits close to home, which makes you, feel some kind of way about it, however that may be.
You'd be more emotionally invested. And I think they want us to invest in Carly, and we can't because we're not getting the whole story.
She doesn't make sense. She's an extremist for no reason.
Yes. Okay, we're on the same page.
I just couldn't get with Carly the whole time. And you telling me about that nixed plot really makes it make sense.
So we have this fun prison break scene that Bucky explains to Sam in a series of hypotheticals.
Yeah, what if this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened? It's like a Rube Goldberg device.
And I love that scene. Like as we watch Zemo bust himself out of prison, essentially.
Yeah.
Like Bucky did almost nothing except for he drops a note on, like, there's two prisoners playing chess or something, or checkers, and he drops a note saying the other guy's gonna kill you tonight, and it starts a prison riot. And then in the scramble, Zemo has a security card that he had hidden in his Machiavelli book. Very on the nose.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Should have been Art of War.
Yeah. I mean, that's only marginally less on the nose. And it's this whole, it's like a very charming scene. And then they find themselves in like one of Zemo's many, like, this is where I have all of my riches stowed away warehouses.
Yeah, they're like, oh, now it's Grand Theft Auto? He goes, these are mine.
Yeah, he's got like all these old classic European sports cars and stuff.
He's like, I'm a baron.
Yeah, he's like, I was royalty before your friends dropped a city on my country.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zemo is awesome. Like, he just went up a few notches in the Marvel villains rankings, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Zemo, I'd never really cared anything about this guy until this show, and now I actually think he's pretty rad.
Yeah, he's got this, like, a full-length overcoat with an ermine collar.
Oh, man, I would love a coat like that.
And they figure, because he's the expert on Hydra, he will know how you get to the super soldier serum. And so he's like, well, we've got to go to Madripoor.
And if you haven't watched the show and you don't care, you just listen to us instead. He hates super soldiers, so he like hunts after this shit like crazy.
Yeah, that's his jam. Like, he was the main antagonist in Captain America: Civil War, and his whole thing was just wiping out super soldiers and anyone that basically elevates themselves over humanity. He calls it like a supremacist ideology.
Yeah.
Because basically the idea, if you want to become a super soldier, you are wanting to impose your will over other people, and that's a supremacist ideology, and it can't be allowed.
Yeah. I don't disagree with him.
Yeah, he's actually, that's my next note. Zemo's basically always right. Basically everything he says, like, he's always pretty much spot on. Like Sam says, he's out of line, but he's right.
Yeah. Zemo is one of those villains that you're like, I understand why you do what you do.
Zemo's who Carly wants to be.
Yeah, pretty much.
On some level.
I think on a narrative level, they were trying to make Carly like him to where you could understand everything she was doing.
Yeah.
But really, she was just... her motivations were suspect.
Yes. So Madripoor is, if you're a comic book reader, this is a very important location. It's a Pacific island in the Indonesian archipelago, and it's like this lawless place that Wolverine always hangs out, and super shady shit always goes down there. So it's pretty exciting for them to go to this location. And right off the back, they get like a motorcade of Bosozoku bikes.
Yeah, I love those bikes. Those are so cool.
And then after that, we don't see any Asian people at all. So I'm like, what's going on here? I just think, honestly, I don't think that there's a failure of representation. I think that is they got as many Asian people probably as they could wrangle in Atlanta during COVID while they were filming this.
Because later he does fight those same thugs.
Yeah, like you see kind of recycled people through
They're
this
the
thing.
same guys.
Yeah.
And they fight. I mean, I think they were meant to be the same guys. Mm-hmm. Because they're the security detail.
Right. Yeah, and it's... it just stuck out as weird that they're on this Asian island and everyone is white or black.
It was basically you're either white or you're black in this whole thing. But I guess if you're in Atlanta, that's what you find.
Yeah, and they filmed a lot of this stuff during like the height of COVID, basically. So it's pretty slim pickings. You get your Atlanta extras, the people that always do extra work in Atlanta.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Sharon Carter, she's been living there on the island, and you know, kind of meet up with her.
Yeah, she saves their ass. They get into kind of hot water with Zemo's contact because their cover gets blown.
Yeah, I love the outfit that Sam had to wear. This the African prince suit.
Yeah, and he's like, why am I dressed like a pimp? And Zemo says, only an American would think a fashion-forward black man is dressed like a pimp.
Yeah,
and it's like, I guess that's true. That is our prejudice. Like,
yeah, and I mean, he looked pretty cool. And I mean, man, that scene where Zemo gives, you know, the Winter Soldier code words and he just starts wrecking house. He falls back into character, and Zemo even mentions it. Oh,
he went into that pretty easy. You can see this Sebastian Stan face acting is so good because there's a couple moments where he really hurts someone. And you see like that kind of like there's a flash of regret that's like very brief.
It reminds me of The Mandalorian with how nuanced the face acting is.
Definitely.
It's extremely good.
Yeah. I think Stan is on that level with Pedro Pascal for sure. And so like you alluded to, Sharon Carter saves their ass. Like she snipers people to save them a couple times, and then she shows up, and apparently while Captain America was getting pardons for everybody, he forgot to hook up Sharon Carter, and she's been living as like a rogue art dealer in Madripoor all this time.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. Like when she's busting them out, the getaway scene, it's nuts because like she ends up kicking a ton of ass. She's not just just like a intelligence operative. She just completely whoops ass, and that was cool.
Yes, she does. That kind of comes up here in a second. They give her, like you said, she shoots all these guys, gets them out of there, takes them back to her house, and they tell her what they're after, and she's like, "Well, I can see if I can figure this out and find out the person you're looking for, and hang out here for this party I'm having here at the house tonight." Which that's where we get our Zemo dance moment.
Yeah.
Delightful. And she points them towards the next day towards a scientist with a secret lab in some shipping containers. And while they're basically interrogating him, she's outside killing bounty hunters left and right, and dispatching them with prejudice.
Because what was it, like €1 million or something?
No, 1,000 bitcoins.
1,000 bitcoins. Oh man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a pretty hefty price tag.
Yeah.
And she's just killing guys. Like it's not like, oh, she knocked this guy out. It's like, no, she stabbed this guy in the neck.
And she's like shooting people, and
yeah,
she's just fucking people up left and right. And then they're getting away, and then Zemo, he just becomes badass also. It's like, I love it when he puts the mask on.
Yeah, so while they're talking to this scientist whose name escapes me, but he's
Dr. Nagel.
Nagel, right. He's the guy that derived the super soldier serum from Isaiah's blood.
And then he blipped out.
And so basically his project was cut off for 5 years. And then when he came back, the government was no longer interested in funding it. And so he came to Madripoor, and the power broker has been funding him ever since then.
Yeah.
There's this mysterious power broker we keep hearing about. The episode's titled after this person.
And I just want to say, that's such a stupid name for a character. I understand that the character has roots in the comic books for a long time ago, but that's like saying, like, let's make a character whose name is Pool Shark. And what they do is they play pool and rip people off for money. It's just so on the nose, it's dumb.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to argue with that. That's a losing argument to try and defend the storied history of the power broker.
Yeah, it's sort of like Kingpin. It's also a stupid name.
It's very on the nose, but these are old comics.
Sure.
And like, I think this is where I have in my notes, Zemo's got a Zemo. As soon as they get all the information, he produced 20 vials of serum, Carly stole them all. He doesn't have any more, and he doesn't have any more blood samples. Zemo kind of looks around the lab and is like, blam, shoots that guy. He's like, now you can't make any more.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's the source has been eliminated. Now I've got to track down the remaining vials.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so there's potentially 20 people I have to kill.
Yeah, he just, you kind of see the wheels turn in his head, and then he just shoots the guy, and they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, doing what I do.
It's like, come on, we're in Madripoor.
Yeah.
This is okay.
Yeah, and that's when stuff gets out of hand with the bounty hunters outside. They RPG the storage container. Inexplicably, everyone walks away from that.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. Maybe it's dumb that I get hung up on little things like that. But it was like they were even in the top storage container, the one that fell off of the other one. And they literally walk out of it and like we're like, woof.
That was intense.
That was an intense RPG attack. I was just in a storage container filled with flammable material that got exploded, fell a story down to the ground, and I walk out the open door and brush myself off. NBD.
Yeah, I mean, I could believe that for Bucky because he's a super soldier.
Yeah, sure.
But the other two?
No one else is.
Yeah, and I mean... It's pretty cool, this whole scene. I really enjoyed this episode. And I mean, basically this whole deal, like, it makes sense to me. This is a moment that makes sense. They track down the scientist that made the thing. There's a bounty on them. They're trying to get away. They kill the scientist. They found another thread to the main plot. This is good.
Yeah.
And
it's fantastic, but it is consistent to the logic of the universe.
Yeah.
So we ride with it. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
When we get a little bit of a hint that Sharon is maybe something more mysterious is going on with her because her chauffeur comes up and she gets on the phone with someone, we don't know who, and says, we've got two problems. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. They jet off to Latvia. I guess that's the next stop on their globe-trotting trip.
Yeah, because the Flag Smashers are raiding a global repatriation council storage facility.
And Zemo just drops some little Easter eggs there. He talks about how Sokovia has been cannibalized by their neighbors and erased from the map. I think that's setting up...
That's like his Wakanda.
Well,
it's like the fake country.
Yes, Sokovia is a fake country, but another fake country that's very important and is in the same area is Latveria, where
Dr. Doom's country. Yeah.
So I think when he talks about the neighbors cannibalizing Sokovia, I think Latveria has
So does
has
somebody
seized
else
that land.
own the rights to Dr. Doom or something? Because it feels like we should have seen him at some point.
Previously, Fox held the rights. So Fox had the rights to all of the X-Men characters and the Fantastic Four characters.
So those have reverted at this point?
Those have reverted. That's why we got to go to Madripoor and see the Princess Bar.
Okay.
Because that would have been Fox stuff. And that's why we conceivably will find where Latveria will replace Sokovia on the map.
Okay.
Because we're starting to replace those Fox assets.
Yeah, I'm tired of the separated Marvel universe. I'm okay with there being a Snyderverse in the DC universe because I don't give a shit about DC. But I don't like a divided Marvel universe.
It's just always seems awkward, like where there's certain things that should be there that are awkwardly missing. Yeah. So no, and the internet and all the the fan what do you call them? Like theorizers, fan theory people are always looking for, this is where you're going to introduce the Fantastic Four. This is where you're going to introduce the X-Men. And I fall into that too, because I definitely thought we would get Wolverine in this series.
I wish they had just had somebody vaguely Wolverine looking just cameo.
Just in the bar?
Yeah.
Just like when the fight starts, he gets up and leaves?
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool, especially if it was whoever they cast as Wolverine. I'm sure they've cast someone by now.
I bet you they could have got Hugh Jackman to do just a cameo.
No, he's done.
A cameo? Just dressed as Hugh Jackman?
Just dressed as like, I'm beloved Australian actor Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be funny, but no.
Everyone would freak out.
So the final thing we see in Latvia is Io from the Dora Milaje. She shows up and puts an ultimatum on the White Wolf.
That's the Wakandan bald chicks who kick a ton of ass.
Yes, they're the royal guard for the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Brings us to episode 4. The whole world is watching. In which Zemo acts like the White Witch from Narnia. Sam has a heart-to-heart with the leader of the Flag Smashers. John Walker rushes in and loses her, but gets a vial of super soldier serum. The Dora Milaje whoop ass on 4 grown men. And Carly kills Lamar on accident, so Walker kills Nico on purpose. And very publicly.
Yeah. This is a bit of a crazy episode because basically Io gives Barnes 8 hours to use Zemo before they're just going to take him.
That's fair. He killed King T'Chaka. I get it. And the Wakandans have done a lot for Bucky. And we open up with...
He's their buddy.
We open up with the scene of Io and Bucky, kind of testing his deprogramming, and Sebastian Stan acting his ass off, he's rolling tears and just face acting, he's not doing any dialogue, and that's a really powerful scene, and really establishes, and this is, I'll say this again, this is something that I think this series really excels at, is establishing relationships between characters with not a ton of time, not a ton of exposition, just acting.
Yeah, so it's very clear that that Bucky and Io are pretty tight.
Yeah, they're tight. They have a lot of time invested in each other, and he's really crossed the line with her, but she trusts him enough to give him 8 hours.
Yeah, she's basically like, you've been deprogrammed. We know you're not a bad dude. So, we're going to do this thing we're going to do, but you have 8 hours.
So I had a question.
That's cool.
We go back to Zemo's crash pad in Latvia, which is pretty plush because he's a baron.
Yeah.
And it's got these stained glass windows, and the stained glass windows have a 6-pointed star motif all over them.
Yeah.
So my question is this version of Zemo Jewish? Because Zemo was a Nazi in the old school comics. And I really like him, so I'd rather he wasn't a Nazi in these.
I do not think he's a Nazi in this because I think he's against, didn't he even at some point reference the Nazis?
He did,
their supremacist ideals, how he was against that. So, it's pretty clear that he's not a Nazi.
Yeah, I think they're hinting that he's Jewish, and I like that twist. That's a change I support.
Do you think that that's a good change in that he is super rich bad guy? That's kind of a bad trope.
Yeah, that is... So... In that sense, where it plays into the stereotype of the wealthy string pulling Jew,
that's a bad thing.
That's a bad thing. But in the Nazi erasure, that's a good thing, and we really like him.
Yeah, like having a Jewish kid play Varg in.
I love that. I love Jewish Varg, and I love Jewish Zemo. Make all the Nazis Jews, and watch the Nazis shoot their TVs like Elvis in the 70s.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah. So anyways, that's enough of that. Sam and Bucky have lost all their skills in investigation. That's what I have here.
Instantaneously suck, even though Bucky is really good at this, and Sam is really good at this.
They go to this refugee camp, and they're like, Danya Madani. Does anybody know Danya Madani? She died recently. And everyone is like, Americans, no. And turn around and avoid them. And they're like,
no, nothing here.
There's just dead end after dead end. I was like, just that was really one of the one of the worst like story decisions I feel like in the whole series.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that Falcon would use his drones to like spy and like do various things.
Something. You have two guys that are super spies all of a sudden suck at spying, but Zemo does, like I said, his white witch thing. He goes and tempts the children with Turkish delight in a very creepy way.
He's singing and he puts the candy down, and yeah, I mean it's a little crazy, but I mean they basically get that information where the funeral's at and all that, and then like they're gonna storm it, and at some point Captain America shows up.
Well, they're not gonna storm it. Sam wants to talk to Carly.
Sure, but Walker does not.
Yeah, Walker's like, basically, yeah, we found you two assholes. You think you can walk around Latvia, two Avengers, and no one will notice? Yeah. And Walker's just fed up. He's tired of being out of the loop, and he wants to take charge of this operation. And basically everyone ignores him.
Yeah, and he does not like that.
No, Zemo, like he's like, you're under arrest, and Zemo's like, I don't think so.
Yeah, we can talk about this.
Yeah, he just blows him off, and Walker feels super disrespected.
He was pretty disrespected.
He was. He was. And we get a couple we cut over to Agent Carter in clearly in Atlanta, Georgia, but claiming it's Wakanda. And we get a whole scene in the cemetery with Nico and Carly where they talk about Captain America and symbols and all of this stuff. This seems very kind of after the thought and shoved in to give these characters development.
Yeah.
And Nico says this thing about how we need a new kind of Captain America that's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
Yeah.
You'll regret that, friend, because you encountered that Captain America soon.
I just thought these scenes with like Nico and Carly were just throwaway scenes.
Oh, they're trash.
It's just like, get rid of it.
Absolute garbage. I wonder, though, is there a version of this where we saw Mama Donya before she died?
And we cared about Nico and Carly.
Yeah.
An 8-episode version. Maybe we should start a hashtag. Like, restore the engineered virus verse.
Totally. Release the Mama Donya cut.
Yeah, there'll be like exactly 4 posts, and they'll all be from us.
They'll all be from us, yeah. So they go in there. Walker concedes and gives Sam, 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes to go and talk to Carly.
To talk down an unreasonable zealot terrorist.
Teenager
who is a super soldier.
Teenage super soldier zealot terrorist, yeah. 10 minutes, you got it. And 8 minutes is funeral. So you have 2 minutes to get through to her.
Yeah, you'd think that they'd have like an earpiece or something so people could
hear. Yeah, they always
how,
have those earpieces, but no, not
how that they're like so that John Walker could hear the progress that Sam is making.
Yeah. So, but anyways, we get kind of, a decent moment with Sam and Carly where he puts on his therapist hat. Remember he's a PTSD counselor. He just starts talking to her, and like basically he's working towards trying to come up with some sort of resolution. Like, I don't think there's any world where she turns herself in. But that's what he wants, right? Like, he wants her to come in peacefully, and he's honestly working towards it. While Walker just sort of paces and freaks out in the other room.
And eventually just barges in. It was
yeah,
like, he's under arrest.
Yeah, he storms in there, and a whole Donnybrook breaks out. It's a big fight. Bucky and Carly are jumping through stairwells, and it's a whole big thing.
I mean, it really does seem like in this fight, Bucky is probably the most badass dude in the room.
Oh yeah, certainly, because he's the only one that has powers and training.
Yeah, he's a veteran super soldier with a vibranium arm. Mm-hmm. He definitely outclasses the rest of them.
And so Carly has the bag with the remaining, 12 vials of serum?
Something like that.
And Zemo shoots her, because Zemo's got a Zemo, as I say, and he's like, super soldier, bam!
That's what you do with super soldiers. You shoot them.
Yeah, and she drops the case of serum. The bottles sprawl out all over the floor. And this is where I wrote, Zemo has strength of conviction. He walks up, looks at him, just starts smashing.
That's what you got to do.
He's like, it doesn't even tempt him for a second. Like, well, I could juice myself up and then I'd be better at taking down super soldiers. No. He just starts smashing. Walker has other plans.
That's because Zemo is actually a paladin. No one wants to think of him like that because he's an extremist.
Yeah.
But he's a paladin. Paladins are all extremists.
What is his thing, his symbol, his religion? It's
his code?
It's anti-supremacy. It's
it's humanity. He's a populist.
He's like
He's a super rich everyman. He's like Batman.
Yeah, Zemo is, but you thought Sam was Batman, but Zemo is Batman. Because Zemo also has the badass butler like Batman.
Oh, that's true. Zemo is Batman and Sam is Iron Man.
Yeah, I think that's pretty close. Yeah, Walker has other ideas, and he dongs Zemo in the head with the shield and gets that last vial of serum.
And wouldn't that have killed him? Or seriously concussed him?
Well, he definitely has a concussion because when we see him next episode, he's got like an ice bag on his head, and he's sipping a whiskey and like
getting hit with the edge of a shield. I'm gonna tell you from experience, it hurts like real bad. And if it's a vibranium shield, I mean, I've never been there; it doesn't exist. But that's gotta hurt even worse.
Well, vibranium has these magical story properties where it both hurts as much as possible and is as energy absorbing as possible.
So it doesn't make sense at all.
It doesn't make sense at all because it absorbs everything, all the stuff that hits it, but you can also hit people with it.
And it doesn't hit like a Nerf gun.
No, yeah, it hits like a train, but it absorbs any impact that it gets hit.
Huh. Okay, yeah, it's a magic material.
Yeah. It has unusual properties. But whatever. So Walker gets his hand on some juice.
And he just like puts it in his pocket.
Yeah, just slides that in there. And, Zemo and Bucky and Sam go back to Zemo's pad. And, Zemo has he's got a headache, understandably, because he got donked in the head with the shield. And Walker barges in there. And it's like, all right, he's under arrest, and you guys have to get in line with me. And Lamar gives this priceless black friend when your white friend got out of line face that I wish I had never. I've seen it a few times when I've said something stupid and saw the look on my black friend's face, and they look at you like, oh, I'm so disappointed. And I'm your friend, and I have to stand here next to you while you make an idiot of yourself.
Well, I mean, Walker is 100% out of line in this case.
Yeah, and Lamar just is like, oh, John, are you sure you want to say this to Sam?
Yeah, it seems like Lamar respects Sam quite a bit. He treats him pretty cool.
Lamar seems to respect everybody.
Yeah, he's just a good dude.
They do a really good job of making Lamar just seem like the bridge builder and the level-headed dude in every situation.
Mm-hmm. Like I love the conversation between Walker and Lamar, and they're like, he's like, oh, if you had it, would you take the super soldier serum? And he's like, yeah, it just makes you more who you are.
Yeah, Lamar, he goes, hells yeah. Yeah, I love Lamar. It makes this upcoming scene all the worse. But anyways, Walker's confronting them. He wants to take Zemo into custody, but the Dora Milajes show up at the same time. They also want to take Zemo into custody. Walker comes over and gives them the like, "Hi, I'm John Walker, Captain America," and Io's not having it. She's just like, no, you're not. I know Captain America. You're not him.
Yeah.
And this is a great fight sequence where the Dora, they're whooping ass on John and Lamar, first of all, and Bucky's heckling, which I love. He's like, looking strong, John. And I love that. Zemo takes the moment to sneak out. Like Sam says, he pulls an El Chapo. Goes to a secret tunnel.
I got an actual like IRL LOL out of that one. Because when you mentioned El Chapo, I was like, he did.
I don't even think Zemo like puts down his whiskey. Like he just sort of like pulls into the bathroom like and finishes it.
Yeah, Zemo is the best. I love Zemo in this.
And so Sam kind of pushes Bucky to get involved, and so all four of them get involved in this fight, and two Dora Milaje just clean house on all four guys.
Yeah, they just kind of get wrecked,
and it leaves Walker humiliated. Mm-hmm. He's when they leave, and one of them takes his shield for a minute, and then Io's like, leave it, and she gives it back to him, and he's just so emasculated, and he goes, they weren't even super soldiers.
Yeah, because they had vibranium spears, right?
Yes,
like, that's their deal. So that they really did just clean house.
And they make Bucky's arm fall off, which he didn't even know that they could do.
They have a safety code on it, basically.
Oof. Yeah, his face when she does like the Kill Bill pressure points on him and the arm falls off, and he's like, what? I didn't know it could do that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean,
it was tough.
It was a very interesting scene, and I mean, I don't know. I like these Wakandan characters, and I'm glad that they didn't get overused.
Yeah, they just they drop in 2.5 times. Yeah, and they're inserted expertly. So Carly's feeling some type of way about that whole situation with Sam, and she decides to threaten Sam's sister Sarah.
Yeah,
bad move. Sarah gets a good line in there though, where she says, "My world doesn't matter to America, so why should I care about their mascot?" Yeah. Sarah doesn't give a shit about who's Captain America. Like that's not her deal.
Yeah, she's pretty down to earth. She doesn't care about bullshit.
At some point during this, we see Sharon Carter, and she's got a busted lip, and I don't know when that happened. I feel like that just feels like missing story there.
Yeah, it was a cut. It seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, and so what's the final?
I mean, basically, Walker, at a certain point, like, Walker and Hoskins are fighting Flag Smashers. Like,
yeah, they burst in. There's sort of this cool homage to a scene in Captain America, the First Avenger, when Steve busts open a door at a Hydra base.
Yeah.
They bust in there and start wrecking shit. And it doesn't go well for them. It's clear right away that Walker has taken the serum.
Yeah, he's doing super soldier shit. He like kicks someone in the chest and they like fly back.
Yeah, Lamar gets taken hostage right away, and he gets chained or like handcuffed up or zip tied up or whatever. And at some point, Sam and Bucky get involved in this whole fiasco. And the long and short of it is, Carly and Nico are fighting Walker. Lamar injects himself into that. Carly kicks him into a pillar and kills him.
Yeah, hits his head on it and whatnot, and he's dead.
Yeah, because the pillar like busts out. Like she kicked him hard, and he's just a baseline human dude. And and he dies. Everyone knows that this has gone to the next level, and Walker goes berserk after that. And he doesn't have eyes on Carly, but he keeps track of Nico, and he chases Nico out into like a courtyard there in the town.
And everyone's got their cell phones out.
Yeah, and he brutally kills Nico with the shield.
Just bludgeons him with the shield edge.
Yeah, it looks like he cuts him in half. Like, because he raises it up and drops it down on his chest like 2 or 3 times. And then like the closing scene is Walker standing there with the blood-covered shield and everyone with their cell phones.
And my personal reaction, I was like, fuck yeah. That's how you deal with terrorists. You just take them out. I don't understand why Lamar didn't have a rifle when they went in there. They just should have jumped in, and he should have just been shooting center mass. Just bam, 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 like just taking these bitches out.
It's interesting.
Because he's a soldier. He should have a rifle.
They have sidearms. Both of them do. But you're right. No one carries like an M16 or like...
If anyone was going to carry a rifle, it should be Lamar.
Yeah. You know, I don't... If I'm going to try and like explain why that is story-wise, it's because they don't have any authorization to be operating in Latvia. They just went there on their own.
Yeah. So they didn't have any weapons.
And Lamar, Lamar's not, he's not he's not a renegade cop kind of character.
Yeah.
So he doesn't seem like the guy that's going to run in there just like blasting people in a, like a non-combat theater kind of situation.
Yeah. I mean,
but
it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
If you're dealing with terrorist super soldiers, you got to shoot them. Zemo knows what to do.
That's true. Did Lamar even have his gun out at any point?
I don't even think so. I can't remember. But I mean, actually, I
because you see Walker shooting people multiple times.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a single time I saw Lamar like get his gun out.
Yeah, I love that profile of Walker like charging forward with the shield out, with a pistol out in his other hand. That's just so iconic, U.S. agent.
Well, and that's also... That's the scene I was talking about. That's a complete callback to the first Captain America movie.
Yeah. Steve
does the exact same thing. Like, almost the same pose. Yeah. Anyways, I got it I have R.I.P. Lamar, R.I.P. Nico. That's the end of the episode.
Battlestar got done dirty, and I did not like that.
I didn't like that either. Lisa and I were talking about that.
I want him to come back.
Yeah. Because Lisa asked, like, why do you think they killed him? And I said, it's because he's someone that you can kill, and it matters, but it doesn't matter in the big picture. Like, it matters to the story and to the emotional weight.
It matters to John Walker.
Yes, but it doesn't matter because no one's like, there's no Battlestar super fans out there.
What?
Yeah, like
there's gonna be someone adding us on Twitter.
They're like, I am part of the Battlestar Society.
I run the Battlestar web ring.
Yeah. No, I mean,
have the Battlestar GeoCities.
I never gave a shit about Battlestar before. I like him a lot more now. So like, yeah, he did the job as far as like making that character matter to me.
Yeah, I agree. He didn't ultimately matter. He is a footnote in Marvel history.
Right. But in this sense, his death did matter. Yeah. And at least John's wife didn't die, because that's a fridging.
They do that too much.
Yeah. So killing the buddy is marginally better than killing the wife.
Yeah.
Bringing us to episode 5, Truth, in which Sam and Bucky take the shield from John Walker. Bucky hands Zemo over to the Wakandans and pushes his luck and asks for another favor. Walker does his Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men impression. Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine shows up as the new Nick Fury. Sam gives his busted wings to Torres and goes and gets some more truth from Isaiah. And Sam and Bucky have a couple of really good montages.
Yeah. This is an episode that when it first came out, because I was watching them as they came out each time, and then I've watched them again this last 2 or 3 days before this recording. This was an episode when it came out, I thought, not a whole lot happened in this episode, because it was not an action-packed episode, but it was a plot mover. Yeah. And in the rewatch, I was actually I really enjoyed this episode.
This is, in my opinion, this is the strongest episode of the whole series.
Oh, interesting.
This is the one with the real character work in it.
This does have a lot of great character work in it. It's not as good as episode 6, but it is really good.
Yeah, so we open up, I have in my notes, it's a good thing there's so many desolate warehouses in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Because, if you really get picky and like watch this show, they don't have a whole lot of filming locations. They recycle buildings and stuff constantly. And I think we've plumbed every corner of these abandoned warehouses over the course of the series.
Yeah, basically Walker runs off after murdering Nico.
Yeah.
And Bucky and Sam Falcon follow him, and they find him in this warehouse, and they're basically like, "Hey, dude!" And Sam's doing his thing. He's persuasive.
Yeah,
he's talking him down. He's almost got him.
Yeah, and then he says, "You need to give me the shield." And Walker, like, the switch flips.
It's like, that's why you're here.
Yeah, and he goes. Walker says, "He says, time to go to work." And it really, we get kind of this mirror of the fight, the Cap, Winter Soldier, Iron Man fight from Civil War, and now it's Falcon and Winter Soldier against the new Captain America. And this is a pretty good fight. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's pretty brutal. Walker is a maniac. He goes for the headshot basically every time he can. He swings for the face.
Yep, he's trying to just take one out, even if it just knocks him silly. Like, you probably wouldn't kill Bucky with one shot to the head. You'd probably just knock him silly. But you could kill Sam with one headshot.
Oh, for sure. And I like, Bucky's so smart. Something, just a little detail. The first thing Bucky does is takes that sidearm off Walker. And I think, it's like, disarm this guy. Like, and he grabs the gun and just pulls it out of the holster. He doesn't keep the gun. It just kind of skitters across the floor, but it's like, this is a fist fight. It's not a gunfight.
Yeah, because it seemed like he doesn't want to shoot Walker. He doesn't want to kill Walker. He just wants the shield back. He wants Walker to be like, you are not Captain America.
But he also knows Walker will shoot one of them.
Yeah.
Because Walker's going to do anything to hold on to this shield.
For sure. And I think that was the right call, because Walker would shoot them. And yeah, it's very believable for the character who just murdered a dude who didn't kill his friend.
Yeah, and was unarmed, submitting, and could have been taken into custody.
Yeah, he was asking for mercy.
Yeah, and we kind of like laughed it off when we were talking about the last episode, but that's not appropriate. You don't.
Oh God, no.
You don't actually like. Even though this we like these characters and we like this character, we don't actually condone executing people that have surrendered.
No, there's one important thing, like, not to get too political, but we always get political.
Yeah, it's unavoidable. This is a political show.
Yeah, very much so. The idea in my head is that even if a law enforcement officer or Captain America watches someone murder someone else, it is not the officer's jurisdiction to immediately implement execution.
Yeah.
A trial must occur.
Exactly.
So even if you watch a killing, you got to capture. You don't kill.
And, the heroes in these stories kill people in battles and stuff with pretty regularity. Like in the very first episode, how many people does Sam kill in that first episode?
Yeah, Sam does some serious damage.
He kicks people out of helicopters, blows up helicopters. It's like a lot of people died in that mission. But that is an entirely different thing than executing someone who's surrendered.
Yeah, there's I've talked to a couple buddies of mine who are in the Army, and it's a very different thing to shoot back than it is to shoot.
Yeah.
If someone shoots at you, it doesn't feel like anything just to shoot back.
Right. It's reflexive.
But it's weird to shoot first. It makes you feel weird. And I felt that before. And I think that this is a moment where John Walker was, in essence, shooting first.
Yeah, he went over that line.
Yeah, he was not defending himself. He was not defending anything. He was just getting vengeance.
Right. So, John he says that, I think he says it more than one times. He says, "Why are you making me do this?"
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, that's classic abuser talk.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, oh my God, that's abusive, like straight up. You can't be punching someone and saying, "Why are you making me hit you?" Like, no one's making you hit them. Could have run away.
Yeah. And so ultimately, predictably, our heroes do get the upper hand.
It is 2-on-1.
They get the shield from him rather brutally, and they break his arm in the removal of the shield. And it's really sad. Sam, he sits there on the ground. Bucky picks up the shield and kind of tosses it at Sam. Gets his last sour grapes in about Sam. Like, basically, it's all in his face that if you hadn't given the shield to the government, none of this would have happened.
We wouldn't have had a John Walker Captain America.
Yeah, and he tosses the shield down and walks off, and Sam's trying to wipe the blood off the shield.
Yeah,
and that's a rough scene. That's really sad.
Yeah, it's grim because I really like all three characters.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of distance between all three of different circumstances. Any one of these guys could be in the role of the other guy.
I don't know. I feel like Sam is the most spotless of the three. He's a lot. I mean, obviously he has killed people in operations, but he has never been the Winter Soldier. Yeah. And he's never brutally killed someone like John Walker
in a rage.
Just did. Yeah. So, I mean, Sam is the most pristine, but I think Bucky, he understands killing someone like Walker did. And so he picks up the shield and he actually puts it on his arm. He's holding it like a shield on his arm. And for a moment, you're like, Bucky's got the shield. And then
he's just going to walk out with it.
And then he throws it down. And it's interesting to me that he puts it on his right arm. When if you're right-handed, which he says he's right-handed, you wear a shield on your left arm. But it would be dumb to put a vibranium shield on a vibranium arm.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's something about feeling it for real.
Yeah.
And not feeling it through the prosthetic. It's just what does this feel like for me to hold it?
Yeah. And then he tosses it down. So that's a really powerful scene, and they kind of open the show on that scene.
Yeah.
It's like there's zero time passed from episode 4.
And then we see Torres again, who is Sam's handler from the Air Force that basically wrangles missions with him. I don't know if I mentioned him earlier. But Torres, he's a young Latino guy, Air Force officer, or I don't know. I didn't pay attention to what his.
I think he's Air Force. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's Air Force, but what rank or whatever he is.
Yeah, I didn't look at his rank. He's some sort of non-commissioned officer.
Yeah. Just comic backstory, he becomes the Falcon when.
Oh, with those broken wings.
Yeah. When Sam becomes Captain America, Torres becomes Falcon. that's comic.
So what does he become? Brown Falcon.
Oh, jeez. That sounds way worse than Black Falcon.
It sure does. I mean...
Oh, man, if someone said, hey, it's the Brown Falcon. No, they would say El Falcon.
Oh, God.
That'd be way better.
Yeah, that's
El Falcon is actually a pretty good name.
Yeah, that's not a bad superhero name.
But anyways, Torres just sort of tells Sam what's up. And Sam's, feeling raw about all the stuff that went down. He leaves. Torres is what's up with these wings? And he's like, keep them. So that's our little foreshadowing.
Yeah, I figured, oh yeah, Torres becomes a superhero or something like that. I figured, because it's Marvel, everybody's a superhero.
In the comics, he literally gets turned into a Birdman.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he really becomes the Falcon in a very literal way. So I don't think they're going to go that route in the movies. But yeah, this is better. And cut to John Walker getting railroaded. It reminded me of the Iran-Contra hearings where they ran Ollie North out there and just scapegoated him for things that he was ordered to do. Frankly, Walker, I mean, he even says it. You built me, Senator. I am Captain America. I did the job that you sent me out there to do, and I did it well. And they're like, no,
you got caught.
Yeah.
We expressly told you never make us look bad.
Basically. I mean, that's the long and short of it, is if he had just done that in private, it would be NBD.
Yeah, if it had happened in the warehouse, it would have been fine. a guy died in I avenged the killer of Battlestar. Everyone would be like, oh, okay, you did a good thing.
Yeah. It's like, you had a viral video that looks very bad on us, and therefore you don't get your retirement benefits. Like, they really do him raw in a way that I thought was like over the top. Just because, like, you know, if he dies or whatever, like, those are like his wife's benefit. Like, like all that stuff, like where you hold no rank in retirement, or I don't remember exactly what they said.
He got an other than honorable discharge, which is a step above dishonorable discharge.
Yeah, but still, like, cutting him off from his retirement and stuff, I thought that was too far.
Sure.
In my mind.
He's a murderer.
He is I don't know. I mean, maybe my morals get gray, but I think police get off for less egregious things than that.
Sure, but
you can't keep their retirement.
You can't use one gross injustice as
to justify
the bar.
Fair enough. And let's not get wrapped up in that, I guess. But Walker walks out of that hearing, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus shows up.
Dude, the acting. She's so good.
She's really good. Yeah. I've never watched Veep. Have you watched Veep?
No, I haven't. I bet it's good.
I bet it's good. I bet it's good. She's really good at playing this sort of shady government type person.
Yeah, like, I really like that character. She was simultaneously douchey and charming.
Mm-hmm. No, it was perfect. And I thought it was, so this is a OG Marvel character from the old Nick Fury comics. Mm-hmm. And she's sort of like Nick Fury's love interest, but she's a double agent kind of shady character.
Okay.
You know, I've always known her as Contessa, which is indeed, that's her first name. But it's a long one. It's Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
I was thinking, I don't even think that's a name. That's literally a title. It's Countess. Contessa is Countess.
Oh, you're right.
I think her name is Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, and I think she's a noble.
Oh, I think, yeah, that makes sense. And why she says to call me Val.
Actually, it's Contessa. Yeah. I think that's why, because she added Contessa as an afterthought, and she doesn't go by that. She goes by Val. So yeah, I think she's a noble. And this scene is like, she basically confronts Walker and is like, yeah, I've got some plans for you, and hands him a blank business card.
Yeah, that's a power move. A blank business card.
Like,
Because basically she says, like, answer the phone when I call you.
Yeah.
And and like I said, so in the comics, like, I've seen, like, she's been a good guy and a bad guy in the comics, and I think she's just a very gray character.
Just like John Walker.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a moment we kind of passed over that happened right around this point where Zemo is in Sokovia at the monument.
Yeah, that's the next thing on my notes.
Yeah, and he's there with Bucky, and they have a little exchange, and it even further humanizes Zemo, in my opinion.
I love this scene. The one thing I don't like is the clearly CG background that they're on.
Yeah, they're kind of mountains and stuff.
And like that monuments, that's all digital. That's not real.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, but it's just like, I don't know. It's fine because the acting is really strong, but it just sort of like stuck out. Like, that's not a real statue.
And then the Wakandans show up and they take custody.
Yeah.
And he forgives Bucky and says he took the liberty of crossing his name off in his book.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Like, basically, he's like, you've made amends to me, and you're also not on my kill list.
Yeah. You're a super soldier that I'll let live.
Yeah, and then the Dora pick him up, and he's like, ladies, like, and basically like goes into custody as a dignified gentleman. Like, yeah, Zemo's awesome.
He's all class.
Are you familiar with the Thunderbolts?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
That was like, I remember when that title came out, and it was like super hype, but I didn't buy it.
So, I mean, to for like the elevator pitch, it's the Marvel version of the Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
In that it's a bunch of villains as doing work as superheroes.
Is Zemo one of them?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Citizen V. He's like the field leader of the original lineup of the Thunderbolts. So yes, I feel like we're putting those pieces together.
Having a Thunderbolts show would be pretty cool, or movie.
Yeah, either or. I'm there for it.
Yeah, I'd watch that. That'd be cool.
With Zemo and presumably John Walker, probably, and Tim Roth's Abomination.
We've got Abomination on there. That'd be pretty cool.
We've got a lot of pretty cool, like, gray area villains that you can put into a dirty Black Ops Squad kind of movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched that second Suicide Squad. Is that out?
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet. Okay, the first one was pretty okay, but I think the second one I will check out.
Well, James Gunn's directing, so
it's probably okay.
Probably okay. You love Guardians. You say that's the best Marvel movie.
Yeah, it is the best Marvel movie.
So this will be the best DC movie.
Oh,
okay. It just stands to reason. There's just simple math. You can't argue with numbers.
Did they replace Josh Whedon with James Gunn? Like, did they basically just say he's the new Magic Boy?
No, they replaced David Ayer with James Gunn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Joss Whedon I would say, I mean, not to tangent too much. This is our bi-weekly trashing of Josh Whedon. But Warner Brothers put out a new trailer for an old movie just like yesterday for the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League.
Oh?
Like, basically to like, hey, we see you guys are streaming the Snyder cut. Wouldn't you rather stream the Whedon cut?
Nope.
And they cut a new trailer, and basically, like, the internet just, like, came back like, no, we hate that movie. And Warner Brothers is like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's wrong, why they don't like our movies.
That's funny. Yeah, there was some new show that's streaming right now that he had his hands all over before it came out.
It's like Victorian lady superheroes or whatever.
I kind of wanted to like that until I heard he touched it, and so I decided not to watch it.
I mean, I haven't heard much about that show, and we're getting too far into the tangent here. I think this is, if we had a producer, this is all stuff editable content. Cut this, but you get subjected to it.
All right, Dave, cut this later on.
I don't know. That show looks good, and they've scrubbed Whedon from it pretty thoroughly, but I haven't watched it yet either.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Let's get back to this show.
Let's get back to this. Show at hand. Thunderbolts, blah, blah, blah. Sam goes to see Isaiah, and I said, this is the best part of the show, this conversation and everything here. Isaiah lays it all out for him, like what happened to him. Because Sam comes with the shield, and he's like, is that what I think it is? Leave it covered. Doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
And he tells him all this story about how, when they came, they tested the serum on them, told them it was a tetanus vaccine, which this is what happened in the Tuskegee experiments. They injected black soldiers with syphilis, to observe what happened. So they're kind of piggybacking off of that. They told them it was a tetanus vaccine, and then monitored what happened to them. In this case, they told them it was tetanus, but they were giving them versions of a super soldier serum, and it killed most of them. But just Isaiah and a handful of others survived and had the correct results. And then, like, as Isaiah says, these guys got taken captive, and he heard the brass talking about they were just going to blow up the POW camp, so no one had the evidence of what they were doing. He busted out of the camp and went and liberated his brothers and brought them back. And ultimately, that landed him in jail for 30 years.
Yeah.
And that's precisely the plot of the first Captain America movie. Like, that's what Steve Rogers does and becomes Captain America. But when Isaiah did it, he ended up in jail.
Yeah, and it's pretty brutal. And the acting here, when Isaiah's talking about it, it's really, really heartfelt. It's a really tough scene.
Carl Lumley is a strong actor. Like, in the geek world. He's the voice of the Martian Manhunter and the Justice League animated series.
Oh, but not the Snyder cut.
No, that's Carl Lennox.
Okay.
I guess they're both Carls. That's weird.
Huh. It's really weird that you just knew that off the top of your head.
Hopefully I got the name right.
Okay.
But
you need to put down the funny books.
Then what will we talk about? But yeah, Carl Lumley, I feel like, because he does so much voice acting, and as any voice actor, I hear them say in podcasts and interviews all the time, voice acting is just acting.
Yeah.
This guy has been a working actor for a long time, but I don't think we've seen him on screen all that much until recently. And he's strong.
He killed in this series. So yeah, I mean, it's a really tough scene, and I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, we get more of this after that. We get more of this. Sam returns home, and he helps fix the family boat.
Yeah, I call it calling the community together, fix the boat montage.
And Bucky shows up, and they bro out, and he like flirts with Sam's sister,
Sarah. Yeah, and I love all that stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, Bucky's come a long way from being super awkward with ladies.
But, I don't know. We're talking about a lot of racial stuff that maybe it's weird for us, a couple of middle-aged white guys talking about.
Sure.
Bucky loves black people. I think this is this is a repeating theme. His favorite, the only time he talks about being the good time in his life is in Wakanda. Every time you see Bucky somewhere else, he's super awkward. But when Bucky is around black people, he's totally relaxed and comfortable. It's just...
Maybe it's just that...
It's just
he was treated so weird. He is the only time he was ever treated well.
Yeah, he just feels at home. These people treat him good, I think is really all it comes to. They treat him like he's a human being, and he feels good.
Yeah, and that's cool, and that makes sense. Nothing too bad about that.
I've become a Bucky Sarah shipper, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Bucky Sarah.
Is that
shipper.
Shucky? There's already the Shucky. So there's the Stucky, which is the Steve and Bucky, the fan community around that.
Steve and Bucky?
Oh yeah, that's big. That's a big fandom.
Okay. But I don't think either of them swings that way.
No, but
that doesn't matter.
I think
for shipping,
the gay community is so starved for good representation that anytime you see two men that have an emotional relationship with each other, they're like, they could fuck.
Well, I mean, there's no reason that Sam and Bucky couldn't have a relationship because they have a connection.
That's true.
I mean, doesn't.
Do you want to ship Sam and Bucky?
All right, they're shipped.
What do we call it? Bam?
Bam. Sucky. That doesn't go.
No, yeah. I think Bam is stronger. There's no reason really why they can't just be queer and polyamorous and the whole Wilson family just bangs Bucky.
Oh, God. Let's just not go.
Not at the same time, because that would be too weird.
That's too weird.
They just tag team.
Okay,
Nick, big digression.
You took it too far. Just want to be on the record that was Nick that said that.
So, John Walker goes to meet with Lamar's parents. Just very comfortable segue.
Yeah, let's go to a somber scene about someone's dead kid.
Because this is a rough scene, too.
Yeah, and I think that they all... I mean... That once again, the acting really sells it. Obviously, the mouse paid for some actors.
Yeah. Oh man, Lamar's parents. I think the word all of it. There's nothing like seeing a big, strong dad get on the verge of tears. Mm-hmm. That really hurts. But then
that's the whole thing with Isaiah.
For sure. And then when Lamar's mom goes up and she gives the picture to John and talks about how proud Lamar was to be his partner, and she hugs him.
Yeah, like basically saying that Lamar was so proud of John and that it was the honor of a lifetime to be his partner.
Oof.
That's heavy.
Hits hard.
It makes you really care more about Lamar and care more about John.
Mm-hmm. Lamar's sister does some great face acting here too, because she does not hug John, and she's side-eyeing him the whole time. She smells something's up with this story, but she doesn't say anything and ruin the moment. But you can just see it. She's like, I don't trust what you're telling me.
Yeah, it was very much an awkward exit from the Hoskins family residence.
And then there's something with Sharon we can skip over. It's not that important. Bucky finally gets it with Sam as far as why Sam didn't just say, I'm Captain America now. And he says, when Steve told me what he was planning, I don't think either of us understood what it would feel like for a black man to pick it up.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's that admission, because he's just been on Sam's ass through this whole series about why'd you give up the shield? And he finally kind of gets the whole picture. And I think that's a big character moment for Bucky.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think Steve didn't want Bucky to be Captain America? Is it because he was so sullied by the Winter Soldier moments?
Well, I don't know that Steve thinks that Bucky is sullied, but I don't think Bucky is cut out for that job. He's not cut out to be the spokesman for American integrity in the way that Sam really is.
Well, yeah, Sam is the most clean character in this whole thing. He's lawful good.
Yeah. And I mean, he goes along with the whole Zemo thing. He's not a wet blanket lawful good.
Sure.
But he is the righteous hero.
Yeah, he's definitely very, very much a good guy.
Yeah. So I just think he's just more suited to the role.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's a really good scene. I mean, at some point they cut to the Flag Smashers, and I'm just like, blech, I don't even want this.
I don't even think I wrote any notes about it because it's not important.
They're attacking a GRC conference in New York.
Oh,
and they're joined by George St. Pierre, who Carter has secretly hired.
That was the scene with Sharon that I said wasn't important, is where she hires Batroc. I love him as that character. He's not a strong actor.
No, but he's such a strong fighter.
Yeah, he adds some believability to the character.
Sure.
He's I just want to kill the Falcon.
GSP has such a strong Quebec accent. He can't speak English for shit.
Yeah, and it's like he's reading all his lines every time he talks.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I forgive it because he is just hired muscle.
Yeah.
Sam is a better therapist to Bucky than Bucky's therapist, because he says, you ready for some tough love? You haven't been amending, you're avenging. You need to go and actually be of service to people.
Yeah, and the thing is and I think your loved ones are better therapists to you than anyone can ever be. And obviously Sam is one of Bucky's loved ones. He's one of his only loved ones.
Sam is a unique in that he's both a therapist, by vocation, and a loved one.
That's true.
He's in a unique position.
I'm not diminishing the profession of therapist, but what I'm saying is that words from someone that you care about
can mean more.
So much more.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I agree with that.
And in this case, Sam was saying the right things.
Yeah.
And Bucky has demons.
And he was in the right place to hear it too.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, is they're having a catch with the shield. And it's he's at that moment where he's very open and is ready to hear these things. Because you can't just, when you drop the tough love on people when they're not wanting it, you just hit the wall. It just doesn't go
Yeah,
anywhere.
they're like, fuck you.
That's not tough love. It's bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's basically the thing. I mean, the outro credit scene was basically Walker building a new shield out of scrap metal and his war medals.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird.
And it's very much an homage to Tony building that first Iron Man armor in the cave. We get that scene of him hammering the shield. Yeah. What's going to happen next episode?
We got 2 Captain Americas.
Episode 6, One World, One People, which we've never really said it, but that's the slogan of the Flag Smashers.
Yeah.
We've really been giving short shrift. The only people that gave shorter shrift to the Flag Smashers than us were the writers of this show.
Yeah, that's true.
So, episode 6, in which all new Captain America makes his triumphant debut. Bucky finishes his therapy. John Walker makes an not entirely earned heel face turn. Sharon Carter makes a not entirely earned face heel turn. And Sam makes his first Captain America inspirational speech, which I graded a B-.
A B-? Dang, dude, that's really hard.
It's B's. It wasn't a C.
You would be a horrible teacher to have, because you'd be like,
you didn't move me, kid.
You got 9 out of 10 on the assignment. Why? I did everything you asked. I didn't feel it. It wasn't perfect. Perfect is a quest.
10s are for people that move me.
Yeah, you would be a hell of a teacher.
Everyone passed, but no one got a good grade.
We go from D+ to B-. That's the whole grade band.
So, yes, everyone, we're in New York City. Like you said, last episode, the Flag Smashers were attacking the GRC. It's never been clear to me through the whole series how evil the GRC is. Are they evil? Are they just
they're bureaucrats.
dispassionate?
They're just they're just passionate bureaucrats, in my opinion.
I think there's some of them are supposed to be bad, like the ones that introduce viruses and kill people.
That's not a plot in this show.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. And so the GRC is as kind of underdeveloped as the Flag Smashers.
Yeah, I mean, this could have been a novel. Like, imagine this as a novel. Probably pretty good.
Yeah,
if they really developed
like
all
an
this
old
stuff.
School spy novel.
Yeah. Probably solid. So I mean, basically, you get to see Captain America's new uniform and his flight suit. I should say Black Falcon's new flight suit and from the Wakandans.
Yeah, I said Shuri laced up Sam. She gave him quite an upgrade of a suit, and it
seems pretty bulletproof,
and it's damn near
badass.
Jumped off the page, like as far as like following the comic book design. Like we're miles away from that first X-Men movie where everyone's like, we wear leather jumpsuits like the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's like this one, we wear the comic book suit you can imagine. It's primary colors, and I strut out here and I own it. I'm Captain America.
I kind of like those Matrix-y outfits.
Yeah, but not for Captain America.
No, not for Captain America. Could you imagine him coming out in like a gimp suit?
He unzips the mask. Oh man, I saw this guy. This is another tangent, classic deep dive of the metaverse tangent. There was a guy waiting for the Max light rail train yesterday, wearing a pink, I don't know, what do you call those leather dog masks? Puppy play? Is that what that?
A leather dog mask?
Yeah, where the mask is shaped like a Doberman's head.
Dude, I have no idea.
Yeah, so divers of the kink community, I think this is called puppy play, where people, they pretend he's a sub, I assume. I think the people that dress as dogs are subs and not doms.
Oh man, that'd be a strange dom.
Yeah, there's been some weird stuff in this episode. I'm sorry. But anyways,
jeez, Nick.
there was a guy in a pink leather dog mask and leather short shorts waiting for the train like it's just Wednesday. And I was like, that's my Portland, man.
Keep Portland weird.
Keep Portland. That's the Portland I love.
All right. Well, you can have the Wilson family orgy and
the puppy play.
The puppy dom play.
Pretty sure he's a sub.
You just roll it into one fantasy. You can fanfic that shit.
Who wears the dog mask?
Bucky.
It is Bucky. He's the leather guy of the group, right?
Very much.
But it would be a white wolf.
It would be a white leather wolf mask.
It wouldn't be a pink Doberman. It would be a white wolf.
Oh man,
Woof.
That's next level, dude.
So my next note is there's some good cinematography in this episode.
Oh, okay.
But seriously, there really is. Like, this was a very cinematic episode. Like, the first episode and the last episode were both very much movie-looking episodes.
Yeah, I think they definitely took their time with the style of this movie. And I mean, basically, so at this point, the show starts off and the Flag Smashers are attacking the GRC and trying to kill those senators or whatnot.
Well, right now they're just taking them hostage.
Sure. And Wilson flies there in his new fancy costume. Mm-hmm. Bucky's there. Carter's there. Walker's there. And Carter reveals that she is the power broker.
Yes. So, yeah, we can skip to that. Because she has a confrontation with Carly.
Yeah.
Because everyone has like their one-on-one with each other at some point in this whole thing. But she has a confrontation with Carly.
This is the Royal Rumble where you get to have your one-on-one in the scope of a melee.
Yeah. And yeah, Carter, it kind of comes out through the back and forth between Carly and Carter that she's the power broker and she juiced all these kids up and they used to be kind of thugs for her and she wants them to come back.
Yeah, so she did the dirty.
Yeah, I don't buy it. Like, it doesn't...
Why would she juice up these, like, Antifa people?
It doesn't... Yeah, none of it, like, lands for me. It should be, like, this big reveal, and I'm still waiting for the reveal after the reveal.
Yeah.
Where they say, and Sharon Carter was brainwashed all along. Like...
And Sharon Carter was actually Hydra.
And Sharon Carter was a Skrull.
A scroll. Have we ever had scrolls in the cinematic universe?
Captain Marvel's all about Skrulls.
Oh, that's true. That movie was deleted from my memory.
You hater.
It wasn't that good.
Ooh, don't get the Carol Core on us.
Oh, is that a thing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Captain Marvel's very popular. That movie was great. 4-star masterpiece.
No, that was a 2 3/4 star. Very qualified recommend.
Well, you can make your own average between those two scores, divers. We're not deep diving Captain Marvel, the 4-star masterpiece.
Not until the Captain Marvel 2 comes out, then we'll do the Captain Marvel episode.
Probably. Yes, so you're right. Carter confronts Carly, and we get that information. Mm-hmm. Walker confronts Carly, and she says, "I didn't mean to kill your friend. I don't mean to kill people that don't matter."
Hoskins didn't matter.
Yeah, that was really dumb wording. But he throws his garage made shield at her, and she just kicks it, and it blanks off, and it's like, oh no, that's not a real Captain America shield.
That's a bad one.
That's a great value Captain America shield.
Yeah, for sure. You got that at Big Lots. Really, he should have asked the Wakandans, like, pretty please.
Right? It's like when I wanted to be Batman for Halloween when I was a little kid, and my mom got me the Dark Avenger costume. No. Yeah, he got the patriotic hero costume with Frisbee shield.
Yeah.
Or it wouldn't be Frisbee. With throwing disc.
Yeah. Yeah, Frisbee is the name brand.
Yeah. And Sam gets just a buttload of hero moments, and we get a really cheesy little bit there where someone goes, "That's the Black Falcon right there," and someone goes, "No, that's Captain America."
Yeah, that was a little cheesy, but it was, it was what it was,
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like just a series of fights. This whole, like, half of this show was a series of fights, but most of them were like really entertaining.
Yeah, and we got more good helicopter action. They spent a lot of money on helicopters in this series.
Yeah, and I mean, it was like really good, and I was just waiting for someone to kill Carly. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn, somebody kill her. Can someone buy a gun? Maybe.
Yeah, so ding, someone kills her. It's Sharon.
But it's not. Yeah, it is with a gun, actually. She just like double taps her ass.
Sharon kills Carly, and Sharon kills Batroc.
I didn't like that they killed Batroc. I wanted him to come back.
He's a good returning villain, just to show up and kick ass and then get locked up again.
Well, there's no reason he has to be dead. He got shot and fell down. There's no reason he has to be dead. Heck, they could even make Batroc have stolen a serum and come back as a super soldier. There's a lot you could do with that guy.
Yeah. Hashtag save Batroc.
Yeah.
Release the Batroc cut.
For sure. I'm down.
Any other thing? Oh, so Sam, he does the whole, like, flying in like an angel, cradling Carly's body. I
think we skipped before that happens the angel scene, which I like to think of as the Superman scene, because normally the top that lighting is reserved for Superman.
Yeah,
but John Walker had a hero moment in there.
Oh, you're right, and I did. Yes, I did skip over that. So yes, there is a armored truck filled with hostages. Mm-hmm. There's actually two of them. They're filled with like senators and various government people. Mm-hmm. One of them, Carly lights on fire, and so Bucky has to save those people.
Yeah, he's like tearing the doors off and stuff.
Yeah, the other one, she like crashes off the top of a parking garage or something.
Something that's under construction because there's exposed girders.
And Walker, who they've been playing him like a psychotic through this whole episode. We've been hearing his theme in a minor key. The theme switches to a major key when he chooses not to chase Carly, but instead to go and save that truck full of hostages.
To save the people.
Yeah, and he runs over there and catches the truck, and then Sam gives him the assist on the other end because he can't quite pull it up. Yeah, I had in my notes that I don't think Walker's face turn is fully earned, but I'm also okay with it.
He was Captain America, dude.
Yeah.
He made one minor mistake.
One minor murder that was filmed by a lot of people.
He made one minor cold-blooded public killing in broad daylight.
Yeah.
It's a small thing.
I mean, we love the Punisher, right? We love Wolverine. We love these guys that just murder people as part of their thing.
Yeah.
It's just we don't love when Captain America does it. If Captain America and Superman murder people, we bump up against it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why John Walker is great as U.S. agent. Because that's not Captain America. It's almost. It's like
it's a guy.
It's a guy like Captain America that can murder people.
Yeah, that's very U.S. agent.
But yes, so Walker did get his hero moment, and I brushed over it. But Sam comes with, he just leaves Sharon there with a gut wound.
I know. I was thinking that. I was like, man, he flew the dead girl to the ambulance when Sharon was literally gut shot. Mm-hmm. Why?
Bad friend. I think that was just a bad bro move.
Okay, let's go back. If you ever get wings or an Iron Man suit or something that can fly, and I get shot, and you carry a corpse away, we're not friends, okay?
The corpse is a better visual aid for the speech I'm planning on giving.
I mean, we have 20 plus years of history. I might be able to forgive you if the speech is better than a B-.
I never prepare for speeches. It's a C at best.
Damn. All right. So in this hypothetical world where Nick is the new Falcon, we'll call him White Falcon.
White Falcon. I abandoned you after you got shot to give a C- speech to a bunch of people.
Yeah. Then I become a villain at that point.
Yeah. You paint a very grim picture of me.
Fuck you, White Falcon.
But so I wrote, Sam's speech is corny, but it mostly still works.
It was a little bit corny. I'll say that it was, I'm not going to say that it was full on corny. I thought it was actually pretty triumphant.
And he really like dresses down all these senators, like, you know, that helpless feeling. I'm paraphrasing, but you know how when you were hanging off the side of that building a second ago and me and my friends saved your ass and how helpless you felt? That's how the rest of the world feels all the time. So maybe help people.
Yeah. Like, you have to do better.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, yeah, I don't know all the answers, but I do know that there are people suffering and there will be a Carly 2.0. Mm-hmm. And I think that he makes his point, and that's the moment that he becomes Captain America for real.
Yeah, for definitely. That's
Captain America.
And that's, and this was also kind of the moment where Bucky became a superhero or whatever and not the Winter Soldier anymore, when he was saving people and people were thanking him. And there was a moment where some of the cops call him Sergeant Barnes.
Yeah.
And like he's just sort of getting like recognized. He's not the Russian super assassin. He's an Avenger.
Yeah, he is an Avenger. And I like that moment where Bucky and Walker trick the remaining Flag Smashers with their own stupid app.
Oh man, that was beautiful. I'm glad you wrote that down because I forgot to write that one down. Yeah, because Walker gets in, he does a Abraham Lincoln quote, and he goes, "What is it? Mercy bears richer fruit than strict justice." And it's because the Flag Smashers were largely a group of teenagers. Like,
yeah,
they really were like Antifa rebels that just got out of hand,
hopped up on goofballs and went nuts.
And we just get stuff's wrapping up, right? The Flag Smashers get all rounded up all into one paddy wagon, and they even have a friendly police officer maybe locking them up there, and then Zemo's butler blows them all up.
Which is a win-win.
That's a wrap on the Flag Smashers. There's no moment when the Flag Smashers are gonna come back.
Dude, I love Zemo's butler. He's so funny. Like when they're in the plane and Zemo's like, if any food doesn't pass the sniff test, give it to them. And his butler's like, I miss having you around.
What do you think all this time while Zemo's been in prison? What is I think his name is Orznik. What's Orznik been doing? Just dusting.
He's been having tea with Alfred. And Diana.
There probably is like a meeting of butlers that have psychotic masters that they serve.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're like, oh yes, well, I had to mend a broken shoulder yesterday from my murderous charge.
Yeah, they have their own society. But yeah, so that's a really nice little end. And I mean, basically, then you kind of cut to Contessa giving Walker a new uniform, and he's like, "It's the same, but black." And she's like, "Yeah, exactly."
That was awesome. And so, just a little like outside thing there. That's literally like an improv line. Like that's what Wyatt Russell said when they gave him. He's like, "It's the same but black," and they're like, "Use it." That's what you say.
That's the thing, yeah. because that's what it is. I mean,
yeah, and he's like, I'm back, baby. Like, he's all super stoked.
I love that he has very prominently that pistol on the belt, you know, because that's very much a U.S. agent thing, is that he has a sidearm.
And so, since we're just going to, like, obsess over the U.S. agent costume for a second, the Captain America costume kind of purposely didn't fit him great.
Yeah.
The U.S. agent costume fits him perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, he does that sort of awkward, weird thing when you see him in the cap suit is all gone, and he's 100% this guy.
Yeah, I really love it. Like, I want U.S. agent content. I want more John Walker.
I think we'll get it. If either through, like you said, West Coast Avengers, or if it's Thunderbolts or something.
Was U.S. Agent in the Thunderbolts?
He was. How geeky do you want to get about this? He wasn't in the Thunderbolts, but he was in the Dark Avengers when the Thunderbolts were called the Dark Avengers.
Oh God, there's a Dark. Okay. Never mind.
That was during the time when Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, was the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he called it Hammer instead of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
And he formed his own Dark Avengers. I think John Walker was one of his Dark Avengers.
All right.
Those are good comics, actually. You would actually probably like those comics.
I probably like the Dark Avengers.
Yeah,
okay.
That was a really good series. But Thunderbolts is good. And whichever version we get of it, I'm sure it'll be good.
I mean, they'll probably just do some hybrid amalgam or whatever.
That's what they do. I mean, is take bits from like 4 storylines and make something new out of it.
Yeah, make something good.
So what else we get in our wrapping montage? We
get some Barnes making amends with various people, including the old man.
Yeah. I'm glad that gets resolved.
He tells him that he killed his son when he was the Winter Soldier.
Do you think the closure is worth more than the emotional harm of telling someone that you murdered their son, even if you were mind controlled?
Absolutely.
You do? I
think that's important.
Knowing what happened matters more.
Yeah. I don't think that old man would ever heal without knowing. And at this point, he can heal.
Yeah. Okay. I'm prepared to accept that.
Well, that's good. I mean, and basically, I mean, it's pretty cool that they do that. But then for me, the biggest wrap up, the part that makes this episode go to be the best episode is when Sam goes and visits Isaiah and they're talking, and he talks about taking up the mantle of the Winter Soldier, Captain America as a black man, and about what that means. And then when he takes him to the Captain America Museum, and Isaiah sees the display that shows him, Isaiah Bradley, and there's a placard, and I paused it so I could read it. It talks about how he's an American hero who did all these operations, etc. And it's got a bronze statue of Isaiah right there, and it's like super powerful.
Yeah.
The acting, and he's like stunned, and he's holding his grandson's hand, and then he goes over and he hugs Sam, and it's just like it was really powerful.
That's a really strong scene there. And that's I have my notes about best supporting actor Emmy for Carl Lumley right there. I mean,
in American history, we have marginalized the African American soldiers and the Buffalo Soldiers and all the different units
and Tuskegee Airmen
that have been largely their contributions have been forgotten, and not to piggyback on that too hard, but the Japanese segregated battalions in 2000 in World War II. I mean, our military history is pretty insidious with its racism, and so this is just a gesture in a fictitious world about a fictitious guy, but it's like it seems like it's it's time. We can't have that in our fictional worlds. We shouldn't have that because they're supposed to be idealized.
Yeah, for sure. It's like that's what these fictional worlds are for, is to sort of visualize the better world we could have in a lot of ways.
And I mean, this is this is the sort of gesture that a real Captain America does, not a John Walker Captain America, but a Sam Wilson Captain America.
That's why, yeah. And closing credit, it says Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it doesn't say the Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
That would be weird. I sort of like, I don't know if it should be Winter Soldier anymore, or if it should be White Wolf or Bucky.
It should have just been Bucky.
But whatever. It's Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and I liked that. I like how they gave him the title. I do wish that they had changed Winter Soldier to Bucky or Sergeant Barnes or something like that. But it was pretty cool. And then the Carter mid-credit scene was pretty dope.
Yeah, she gets her pardon because Sam is fulfilling all of his promises. And he said, I'm going to make some calls and I'm going to get you pardoned. And she gets reinstated into the CIA and then promptly sets about abusing that power.
And she's still the power broker.
Yeah. So what do you think that's setting up? Do you think that is setting up Captain America 4, which got announced last weekend?
Yeah, and with Sam Wilson as Captain America, with the same showrunner as this, making the movie.
Or is it setting up the Armor Wars show with Don Cheadle? Because that's all about like the Stark weapons getting black market sold and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit of A, a little bit of B.
Yeah, probably all of them.
I mean, I think that the Armor Wars show is going to be pretty cool. I like Don Cheadle quite a lot.
Oh yeah, he was in the first episode and we just brushed over that.
Yeah, he was. Also, if you don't follow Don Cheadle on Twitter, you're doing it wrong.
Oh, really?
He wrecks people because he's a notorious liberal, and when people say things, he lets them have it, and it's amazing.
Well, I'm gonna follow him, and then probably our podcast account will follow him too.
Definitely follow Don Cheadle. He's a good one to follow.
Cool, yeah, because I'm looking forward to that to Armor Wars. I really like as we got Sam Wilson in the Captain America suit. I want to see Don Cheadle in the silver and red Iron Man suit that he used to wear back in the 80s.
Yeah, like the War Machine or
the pre-War Machine, the Silver Centurion.
Oh yeah, dang. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, and I think pretty much that's the end of the show.
That's the end of the show.
That's 6 episodes. What? So I guess do we want to do our personal highlights and stuff now?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So what worked for you? What's your personal highlight?
What worked for me? The character interaction and development, mostly. This series really, we already knew Sam Wilson would be Captain America going forward, but this gave us the character development he needed to earn that mantle. So when he shows up in Captain America 4, he's done the work to step into those shoes.
Yeah, we needed this interlude.
Yes, for sure. And similarly, this Bucky did the work to move past being the Winter Soldier and to kind of forge a new identity, whether that's as the White Wolf or as Bucky, whatever moniker they want to put on him. They both, they got the time in this show that they didn't get in any of the other movies because they were side characters.
Yeah, he can grow his hair out long again and it'll be cool.
I don't know if he wants to do that, but we'll see. I do like him with the long hair. It looks good. And what else? The action was incredible. Like, it was very cinematic and on a level with the Captain America movies, which I consider to be the best of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, they're really good.
And the show didn't shy away from like the race issues. Like it could have kind of brushed aside some of this stuff, and it pretty much went head on at them every time.
You can't make a black Captain America and not address race.
Well, you could. It just wouldn't be authentic or good.
Yeah, it would be lame.
Yeah. So, yeah, the fact that they went at that stuff, and, even if the right-wing Disney bloggers got all in a twist about it, they went ahead and did it anyway, and I really appreciate that. What worked for you?
I would say just broadly the acting. I thought that Falcon and Bucky, their acting, the interplay between those two actors was just amazing. I loved John Walker's portrayal. I loved Isaiah Bradley, Zemo, Power Broker, and even the psychologist lady was really well done. Basically, I think that the casting here was super good. The directing for these actors was really, really good. And I think that whereas the storyline was not overly powerful because the Flag Smasher plot was lame, I think that the acting was so good it made me not care about that. And I really appreciated the kind of the character acting and the development that they did in this.
Yeah.
With really recognizing Captain America's past with Isaiah Bradley and with basically that this is not Steve Rogers. This is a different guy. I think that the torch was passed really well. Like, this mantle moved on in a way that made sense. It wasn't just, oh, this guy owns the shield, he's Captain America. No, Sam Wilson is Captain America because he's Captain America.
Yeah,
it's like
he's proved it.
Yeah, he made his case with his actions, not his words, and that's what matters to me. So those were the things that really stuck out to me. So what didn't work for you?
I think we're going to be on the same page here. I wrote the Flag Smashers! !
Yeah.
We'll probably never know what that storyline was supposed to look like in the original version of it, but what we got didn't work. Carly and the Flag Smashers, and that's nothing against that actress Erin Kellyman, because I think she's a good actor. But
her dramatic scenes were good.
Yeah, but it just didn't work. We didn't get that. Whatever those elements that were cut out were apparently essential, because that storyline didn't work. And I've said it earlier, but I'll say it again. I would have rather just had nameless, faceless villains than have poorly developed villains. And I'm so sick of this trope where it's like the thing where, they're having that conversation in the cemetery about how she could be the next Captain America, and then they go and blow up a building filled with people.
Yeah.
And it's like, you need to show me why this idealistic teenager is willing to just cold-blooded murder people.
Yeah, because she's a murderer. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. And then on top of that, maybe it's just because I'm too hung up on the comic books and who characters are and stuff, but I don't buy into Sharon Carter's heel turn. Like, I don't buy her as the power broker, and it's just sort of like I bump up against that, like, because I don't feel that doesn't feel earned to me unless that's going to get developed further, which probably it will. I might come around on that.
She had several years in exile.
Yeah, but living in Hightown in Madripoor and being a rich art dealer, like, is that such a raw?
I don't know.
Does that turn you into a supervillain? Or do you just get that by being a supervillain?
Here's
I
the
guess.
deal. Is she a supervillain?
She never does anything bad to Sam or Bucky. She always helps them.
I don't think she's a villain. I think she's a gray agent.
She's just out for herself.
Yeah.
I could come around on Sharon. And then if I'm getting really nitpicky, in some of those early episodes, it feels like Sam is very passive in his own story. I think they redeem that as it goes on, but like early on, that was sort of like red flagging for me. Like, I was like, Sam's just following Zemo around, and he's not really leading this, but that's not a big deal.
Okay. Well, I guess what didn't work for me was the Flag Smashers, and it wasn't just for all of the reasons that you stated. I also think that the idea of making a a collectivist group that is essentially a one world organization, one planet, a borderless group, which is pro-immigration, essentially, etc. I think that was a political call that where they literally are villainizing a group of people that they're an extreme version of a real world political stance that you could have, like pro-immigration, open borders, things like in the EU, where anti-immigration sentiment, even though they have legal immigration, is a huge thing in a lot of the Western European countries. I think that choosing to have the Flag Smashers be in that vein was really I don't know, it was in poor taste. It was I guess they didn't have a choice at this point because they chose two really poor taste villains by having a plandemic and a liberal Antifa group as their villains. It's like, come on guys, you're assholes for making these the villains.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we get actual villains you can get behind, either straight up hating because they're nameless, ridiculous bad guys, or a villain that I can actually identify with? Because this was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
They were doing things that I thoroughly disapprove of, but they also were trying to make me care, but I just didn't because their argument was really weak. They had very much teenager logic, which is to say that it's not thought out, it doesn't think of the consequences, and it thinks of none of the alternatives.
Yeah.
So I just think that the Flag Smashers were ill-conceived, and this might be the victim of bad editing. We need to release the Smasher cut.
The Flag Smasher cut. You know, listening to you explain all of that, like kind of put your thoughts into words, something jumped out at me there. Is that they're all portrayed like they're refugees, but literally everyone we encounter is someone from the British Commonwealth. Like none of them are from Romania, Czech Republic, or any of the countries that that people in the developed EU countries complain about immigrants coming from. All of them were like British and Australian, who can just move around Europe freely.
Yeah, it's really just an ill-conceived villain group. That was a big problem with this.
Well, we're on the same page.
So I have the ratings here from Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. So I would like to get your rating on this. Final thoughts.
I always make a big deal out of this. Ultimately, I came on down at a 3.5. There was, in my opinion, like a couple 3.75 episodes and a 4-star episode. But there was a couple 3.25 episodes that dragged it down, and ultimately, just because of these problems with the villain aspect of it, it just ends up being mid-tier Marvel in the end.
So mid-tier Marvel would be like a 3.25 star.
3.5.
No.
That's what almost every Marvel everything is a 3.5.
Okay. And unqualified recommend, meaning you can just, anybody on the street can pick it up and like it.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is not a hard show to get into.
No. All right. Well, I gave it. So here's the deal. I basically thought similarly that there were different episodes of varying quality. And I think that the negatives, we call them out because they're fairly glaring in this case. But really, the positive parts of this show, the interactions between Sam and Bucky and all the other characters are so excellent. I think that anyone could watch this show, even if you were not a Captain America fan, even if you were not a comic book fan. I think that we are only hung up on the flag smashers because we're nerds.
Oh.
I think normal people would be like, oh, okay, they're bad guy terrorists who are in favor of the people who moved into the vacancies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that our criticisms are undue for a broad audience.
Right.
And I think that's reflected in the fact that this was made for 150 million, but it has had significantly more critical acclaim than movies that were made, Marvel movies that were made for significantly more.
Yeah.
So I actually rated this a 4-star show.
Ooh, nice.
Because I think it's much better than a qualified recommend or an unqualified recommend. I call this an enthusiastic recommend, which is what I literally gave it on my Facebook.
Yeah, that's true. You did.
I gave this an enthusiastic recommend for anyone. It's good. It's just good. Sam and Bucky alone are good. When you add in Isaiah and you add in John Walker and you add in Zemo, this is just great.
I mean, like I said, we had another show that we were going to do this episode on, and I messaged Dave and I said, I'd rather watch all 6 of these episodes again than watch the last 2 episodes of the thing we were going to talk about.
Yeah, so
yeah, I agree with you. Like, I feel the same way for sure. I think this was a really good show. Yeah. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, and so
it only got better the second time.
The public rating is that the Rotten Tomatoes is an 88%. So I think that jives with my 4. And the IMDb is a 7.7, which is a little shy of a 4. It's like 3 3/4 or something in that vein.
So you're telling me I'm low.
I think you're a little low.
I get lost
because you're the comic book nerd. You're the guy who's lost in the details. You're the guy that cares about Sharon.
That's totally true. That's fair. I'll take that. I'll be that guy this time.
Yeah, I mean, so this was good. I think we both agreed this was very good. And I will say without any reservation that as soon as Captain America 4 comes out, I'm watching it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's
totally.
going to be great. It's going to be great. I want to see Sebastian Stan. I just want to see this movie. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what Marcus Spellman, because I think he is a good writer, and I think he has the voice of all these characters down really well. So I think, yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to that movie, and I mean, you know, I'm a Marvel
You'll
guy.
watch any
I'll watch any Marvel anything.
Yeah.
The only thing that I didn't watch all of was Cloak and Dagger, which I only watched like a few episodes of that.
Did that come out?
Yeah. So that's how in the
week. When
week
did that come out on? What shoot? Disney?
An ABC Freeform.
Oh no! Did you watch it on?
I watched it on Hulu.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna watch it on some strange rando streaming site.
Yeah, I had to download a special app to watch it. No,
like,
it was on Hulu.
You're on Deezer.
But yeah, I watch Marvel everything. Loki comes out in June.
And is that a movie or a show?
That's a show too.
Oh man, that's gonna be dope.
Yeah, so we'll be back in 3 weeks for Loki.
It'll actually probably be like 4 weeks because you know the way the podcast falls.
Well, yeah, and there'll be weekly episodes and probably 8 episodes. So you know, whatever. Eventually, we'll talk about Loki.
We can't do a show on every single Marvel thing.
I wasn't going to do any, but you just love this show so much.
I did. I think it was really good. All right, so let's go ahead and put a wrap on Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and then we'll come back with our final segments.
All right, welcome back, divers. It's our final segment, the one where I ask Dave, what are you into right now?
All right, so it hasn't been that long since we recorded our last episode, so really, I'm into the same stuff I've been into.
Disc golf.
I've been playing disc golf like all the time, like 2-3 times a week.
He was literally watching disc golf videos on YouTube when I got here.
Well,
don't say that to shame, just to exemplify the level of dedication.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching the Disc Golf Pro Tour, which is primarily on YouTube from Jomez Productions and GK Media. They do like professionally filmed and commentated Disc Golf Pro Tour episodes. And this weekend, the one that's happening is the Dynamic Disc Open in Kentucky. So I just started watching the first round of that. But I've been watching tour stops. Anyway, so I've been playing disc golf like constantly, going out to the course, going out to different courses, but also we got a basket for our house so we could practice putting, whole deal. So people don't want to hear a second what are you into right now about disc golf. So I am going to give a couple of quick streaming recommends because that's my backup is what are you watching right now? And I will spare you the disc golf videos. If anybody wants them, you can @ me on Twitter or DM us on Instagram or whatever.
So hold on. When Sam has his training with the Shield montage,
I thought about discs.
You thought about disc golf when you were watching it? You're watching all those cool throws.
I was thinking that's pretty cool. Sometimes you get a tree skip. So here's the deal: if you throw a disc into a tree and it throws you the wrong, it goes the wrong way, you say you got tree-nied.
Oh,
and if it skips the right way, you say just a small tree direction.
Oh my god!
I love the wordplay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So anyway, my streaming recommends. We got 2 shows that I've previously talked about that have fresh new seasons that you should probably check out. My Hero Academia is back, and
I've only watched 1 episode.
Ever?
No, of the new season.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, what? We watched the movie. Yeah, it's back, and I'm loving it. I love the series. It's hard. It's just hard for me to express. I don't know why it speaks to me so much because I watch a fair amount of anime with my wife Carrie, but in this case, I like Deku. He feels a lot less urgent. He feels a lot less raw. He seems a lot more confident in himself.
Yeah.
But these recent episodes are they're featuring a lot more. They're featuring a lot of the other heroes as well on the team, and so I'm really enjoying that. It's really fun, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't call out Red Riot as one of my fave side characters. He's super cool, so I recommend checking out My Hero Academia on Crunchyroll is where I watch it. The other thing is
it's also on Hulu. That's where I watch it. So
okay. Is it caught up? Because usually Crunchyroll is several episodes ahead. But either way.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
So you guys know all of the divers know that I love me a survival show. So Naked and Afraid is a good survival show.
Okay.
But Naked and Afraid XL took it and made it way better.
Because they're plus sized?
Yeah, they're BBWs. No, no. So Naked and Afraid is where you have one man and a woman, and they team up, and they have to last I think it's 20 days, 21 days. I don't know. And they usually have one survival item each, or something like that.
Yeah.
And no clothes, etc. Naked and Afraid XL is it's extra long. It's 40-day survival challenges, and each person gets one thing, and it's not just one. It's not just 2 people. Usually they start off with 3 people in a group, but it happens concurrently with many groups at the same time, and eventually they find each other, and you end up with these tribes of people who are trying to make it, and it's pretty cool. Now, this most recent season, which I'm watching on Amazon, is Naked and Afraid XL Legends.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so it's a 60-day challenge, first of all. So it's the longest challenge they've ever done on a season. And it's bringing back everybody who is on there is from multiple prior seasons of Naked and Afraid and Naked and Afraid XL. And so when you meet the people or whatever, it shows you how many challenges they've done, how many times they've tapped out, etc., and who they're paired up with in their initial groups. Eventually they will find each other, but it just came out. I've only watched the initial first episode of the season, but it's a super episode. It's 90 minutes long.
Wow.
So I love the survival shows, and I really think Naked and Afraid XL is the best of that of the Naked and Afraid franchise. Alone is the best of the survival genre. Period.
So let's do a quick ranking. What's Alone's number one?
Number one. Okay, so we're talking anything in the survival genre.
Yeah.
So, and are we talking about like demonstration of survival skills or like just my enjoyment? Just
yeah. What do you think? Just like the best all around
watching experience.
Yeah, Alone is number one, and then what?
I would say Naked and Afraid XL is probably number two.
Oh wow! Okay.
Because it's really fun to watch the interaction between the people. It's opposite of Alone, where the people are just monologuing to a camera.
Yeah.
In Naked and Afraid XL, you get people who are talking to each other, and there's interpersonal conflict, etc. It's entertaining to watch. It's fun.
I've watched like a couple episodes of the regular Naked and Afraid,
Yeah,
and it is always interesting, especially if you get like
people who don't get along.
Yeah, or like there was one I watched where there was a guy who was a John Walker type personality,
Yeah.
and then there was like a very level, kind of earthy, almost hippie girl.
Yeah.
And yeah, the guy like basically like gives himself dysentery or something like right away, and the girl is just like, I told you that would happen.
Yeah. It's always funny when you have these stupid go-hards that get wrecked.
Yeah.
And then I think the third place show is the OG, which would be Survivor Man with Les Stroud. And the reason I placed it number 3 is because I actually think Les Stroud is the best survivalist in the world.
Okay.
But the reason I placed that number 3 is because I just think it's slightly less entertaining because it's all self-filmed, which means he has a significant it's a significantly less polished show, and it's a little less, there's like less B-roll, and there's less camera angles, and it's a little more found footage. It's a little less produced, and sometimes a little bit of production really helps speed things along.
And so does like Man vs. Wild or Dual Survival, do those shows rank at all? Or
Dual Survival is fine. I like that show well enough, but all that is staged. They're like, what if we were here, and what if we had to do this, and I'm just kind of, and the thing is that Bear Grylls Man vs. Wild, that's also staged,
very
too.
staged. Yeah,
so I don't like the staged ones. I like the real shit, like in Alone, like when you're watching like Alone season 4 or whatnot, and the dude is just breaking down, like crying, and he's just like, oh my god, and he's just like freaking out, and then he fucking pulls it together and pulls it out for the win, and I'm just rooting for him so hard. And
there's a few people, because I've watched I've watched all of Alone except for the season where it was 2-person teams. I skipped that one, but
it's skippable.
I've watched all the other ones, and that was really good TV. That was a good recommend.
Super good TV.
For sure.
If you haven't watched Alone, it's the shit. It's probably my favorite show on TV.
I was pretty skeptical of it. I was like, this doesn't have anything for me. But yeah, I ended up binging like that whole series.
It's a human story. That's the thing. It's like it's just a story of a person, and it's great.
And I watched one of your not to steal your moment, I watched one of your other recommends too, because I watched season 1 of Ink Masters over the weekend.
Nice.
Because that's on Netflix now.
Yeah, for sure. What'd you think?
I mean, I got wrapped up in it it feels very staged.
It is super staged.
It seems like they had the winner picked from the very beginning of that, and they also kind of push antagonism that's false, like phony.
You can tell that is a little bit of a false narrative sometimes.
Yeah, but there was some really cool tattoos and enough kind of off tattoos that there actually is like stakes. Like sometimes they're like, that tattoo sucked.
Yeah, exactly. like when the people are talking shit to each other, like, yeah, but I can pull a clean line. Woo! And all the rest of the crew is like, ooh,
Yeah.
how dare you? Yeah. So yeah, that show is fun. Like legitimately, warts and all. It's just a fun show.
I started watching it because, I was with Lisa's family over the weekend. We went up to Whidbey Island, which is why we detoured through Everett. And I started watching that by myself, and I got the whole house into it. By the season finale, everyone is watching it and is kind of yelling at the TV.
Commenting on the tattoos and stuff.
Yeah, like it pulled everyone, it's like...
It just makes you want more tattoos, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, you're like, would I go on this show and get a random tattoo from a contestant?
I don't think I would.
I'm a little degaff, so I might, but sometimes they do big tattoos.
And they suck.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, geez, I got half a sleeve and it's terrible.
Like they asked someone who's like specializes in new school to do a photorealistic portrait of your grandma. You're like, ooh, that's gonna suck. Your grandma's gonna look like a rabbit or something stupid.
Totally. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm second. 2 of your recommendations I've gone and watched. So you're doing pretty good.
Check out Naked and Afraid XL.
Naked and Afraid XL
is better than regular, 100% better. All right, so that's what I've been into. Those are my streaming recommends. And divers, if you want to know about my disc golf recommends, just hit me up. So what are you into right now?
So I was waiting until after I watched this show to revisit Rick Remender's run on Captain America, because I actually stopped reading it, maybe 10 issues before Sam Wilson became Captain America. Oh. And so I went and I figured out where I stopped reading it. And because I'm on Marvel Unlimited, I went back and I jumped in and read the issues in between that I had not read. And I just started reading All New Captain America by Rick Remender and Stuart Immonen. And it's good. It's very much in the same vein as the show that we just watched.
Okay.
And I really like it. I really like Rick Remender as a writer. He used to live local here in Portland.
Okay.
He moved back to California, but he's a real cool dude. I had a really nice chat with him one time, and not about comics, but about like music and stuff. And he's a good dude, and I like his writing a lot.
So is Sam Wilson the current Captain America?
No, this comic is from 2014.
Oh, okay.
At that point in the comics, much like in the movies, Steve Rogers was an old man and not able to be Captain America anymore. So he passed the mantle on to Sam.
Who's the current Captain America?
Steve Rogers. He's not an old man anymore.
Okay.
He's a young man
he
again.
Got unolded somehow.
Yeah, comic stuff.
Sure.
It's always got to get back to normal at some point.
Sure, yeah. They got to put the toys back in the box.
Yeah, but Sam was Captain America and the leader of the Avengers for, a couple years. And I'm going back and reading those comics, and they're good.
And he has the Falcon wings and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I decided to recommend that, Volume 1 of Captain America the Winter Soldier. All New Captain America by Rick Remender and Stuart Immonen. That's free on Comixology if you have a membership.
Oh.
So, I know some of you out there, like Ted, have that, so you can just go and read that right now. And Dave, you've teased at starting a Comixology membership.
Thought about it.
So that would be one of the free books you could just read for nothing. And another one would be Captain America the Winter Soldier by Ed Brubaker and Steve Epting, which I think you would like even more. So I just kind of went on a little bit of a tangent on Captain America books that I would recommend to people that just watch this show.
Nice. That's very topical.
And I had two more beyond those. Truth, Red, White, and Black by Robert Morales and Kyle Baker. That's the Isaiah Bradley story.
Oh.
That is not free on Comixology. They'll charge you by the issue, $2.99 each issue.
Damn.
Yeah. Or if you are on Marvel Unlimited, like I am, you can just read that. Unfortunately, that book is out of print. So you're going to probably pay a premium to go and buy a physical copy of it.
Sure.
And the final one is Captain America, The Captain by Mark Grunwald and Kieran Dwyer. That's Captain America comics from when we were kid, and that's where John Walker's introduced.
Okay.
And I have real fond memories of those comics. It's not free on Comixology, and that trade paperback is, I don't know, around $20 or something if you wanted to pick that up. But if you like those good old 80s comics, that's worth grabbing too.
That's true. There's a lot of 80s comics I wouldn't mind picking up, but I got limited shelf space, you see.
Yeah, that's why you need to get that Comixology, and you can read all these free ones.
You think Comixology is the better pick rather than Marvel Unlimited?
For you, yes, 100%.
Okay.
Because then you get everything. You have access to everything. Because really, you're going to be much more into a lot of like the independent, hard sci-fi and fantasy stuff more than the superhero stuff.
Image stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Image Comics does lots of
Vertigo.
and like Ed Brubaker, if I'm recommending shit, Ed Brubaker writes great crime noir stuff for Image in a series called Criminal.
A little on the nose.
Yeah. and Rick Remender does some cool sci-fi stuff. I think it's called Black Science. And it's sort of like, like dark science fiction stories. So yeah, Comixology. I think you should invest in that.
What's the monthly on that?
I don't know. What's the monthly on anything? What is money? Money is a construct.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
under $10, I bet.
Man, you know what I should do? This is going to be like a wild, crazy idea.
Mm-hmm.
I should replace my WoW subscription with a Comixology subscription. Imagine the hours I would come back with.
Just reading?
Just not playing WoW.
Yeah. I think we're all just mentally more healthy when we spend our free time reading instead of playing video games and stuff.
But that's very true.
But I still love video games. I don't know that I'd tell you to lose your WoW subscription.
That's true. Not with the Burning Crusade coming out.
Yeah. WoW comes up almost every episode. So I think it'd be weird.
This episode.
Yeah, it'd be weird if you quit playing WoW.
Yeah, it would be weird. It'd be healthy though.
You have quit before.
I have quit before. I've relapsed before too many times.
Yeah. But it's only Dr. Drew says it's addiction if you have consequences.
Oh, that's true.
So, if you lost your job because you were playing WoW, that would be a video game addiction, and that would be a problem. But if you just have to play kind of on inconvenient nights sometimes, you have to be home to raid, that's not addiction.
Yeah, that's just enthusiasm.
Yeah, totally. You want to give them the call to action?
Yeah, so subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher and rate us generously. A 5-star review costs you nothing, but means everything to us.
You can find us on all social media platforms across the metaverse as Deep Dive the Meta. Dave likes Twitter. I prefer Instagram, but we're also on Pinterest, which nobody likes.
Well, I guess this is really goodbye.
Don't say goodbye. Say good journey.